There's Chloe yawning again. Never likes her little biscuits. All right, well, here's today's show. Day number 2, Rosenbaums. Don't know if anybody's getting notifications. It was kind of weird. So when I put out the video on the Idaho 4, it didn't get put out there to anywhere. Really strange. So if you guys want to go share that one, that'd be good too.
Ms. Daniels, you indicated that there would be times when certain visits would be canceled due to illnesses. I know we talked about August the 12th when you received a message about being at the, I guess, Dr. Ms. Laila at the doctor receiving IV. Was there any other times that you were notified in regards to there being illnesses with Laila?
Yeah, one time she had to be taken to urgent care.
Do you recall when that was?
I want to say it was November. Was it the 12th?
In November 2015?
Yes,
You don't have
ma'am.
objection to the state providing legal information to you?
It was early.
Your Honor, I was just getting clarification. She said November. Let me ask you, what year?
2015.
And in November 2015, what was your understanding about Laila being sick?
She heard something in her chest again. She had to take breathing treatment or something.
And where did you get that information from?
A Facebook message from Jennifer.
Please put the microphone closer to you.
Yes, sir.
And you said a breathing treatment. Do you know where she went to get that breathing treatment?
I'm guessing after hours, like, I'm sorry.
Yes. Were you told where she went for that breathing treatment?
Yes, she told me that she took her to an after hours or like urgent care type thing.
And when you said she, who were you speaking
I'm sorry,
of?
Jennifer.
And you said that was sometime in November.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you indicated that you left off in October, I think October the 23rd, 2015. Did you continue to have conversation back and forth with Ms. Rosenbaum over Facebook about the girls?
I did, but I don't think we talked as much. We didn't talk as much as we did before.
Why was that? Why did that change?
I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure, but it did.
At some point during the time that the Rosenbaums had Millie and Laila, did you go to jail?
Yes.
Do you remember when that was?
I want to say, I don't exactly remember which time that was. It had to be towards, I remember getting a letter in jail that was sent from Jennifer and the girls.
And let me ask you, do you remember if it was before, when you went to jail, was it before you got the message about Laila breaking her leg or after?
It was after.
And what did you go to jail for?
I went to jail for possession.
And when you got out, did you continue to make contact? Did you have any further contact with Ms. Rosenbaum?
Yes,
Did you continue to receive pictures of the girls from Ms. Rosenbaum?
I did, but I remember wondering why they were mainly pictures of just Millie.
So at some point, did the pictures, I guess the pictures you were receiving of the girls change?
Yeah,
Were you receiving, in your estimation, who did you get the most pictures of?
I got a lot of pictures of Millie compared to a few of Laila that you could tell weren't new pictures or updated pictures.
And did you ever ask or talk to or communicate with Ms. Rosenbaum about your concern about pictures of Laila?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm showing you what's remarked and shown to counsel states exhibit number 90. Do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it an accurate depiction of the photograph that you received?
Yes.
I'd ask the state's exhibit number 90 be admitted into evidence. I don't believe I've seen them. I'll show them to you, but I'll show them to you. Do you need to look at the evidence again?
What is it, picture?
16.
A picture from Facebook, Your Honor. Number 90.
Picture of who?
Millie.
All right.
I'd ask the state's exhibit 90 be admitted.
All right. And this is a picture of child as well.
My apologies, Your Honor. When did you receive this photograph?
On November the 14th.
And what is depicted in that photograph?
That's Millie getting her face painted.
And I'm going to show you going back to State's Exhibit number 85, starting from the bottom of the page.
There's a picture and another picture.
And what's the date of that?
November 14th, 2015.
So State's Exhibit number 90, when it indicates that there's a picture, would that be the picture that you received?
Yes, ma'am.
And was there any conversation in regards to that?
Not of that picture.
Well, I'm just saying before, was there conversation after you received those pictures?
I think she told me that those were actually the updated pictures.
What's the conversation that came from that stream on November the 14th of 2015?
Where I started talking, I commented on a picture that she had sent me where she dressed Millie up like Cindy Lou Who.
Can you read what that message was that you sent to her?
It says, all Millie Lou Who. You don't have newer ones of Laila. And she responded, I sent 3 of her that we took today. But no, she has been sick, so didn't go with us to the French. And then she said, I haven't taken any this week. Really, we've been busy with doctor and other stuff. And she said it's hard to get her to be in the mood for photos when she isn't feeling good, but she took the ones I did of her today above when she got her face painted.
When she talks about being busy with the doctor, do you know what she's referring to?
I guess I was just assuming it was from her being sick.
When you say her, is that
Laila being sick.
during that November of 2015 when you talked about her, I guess, was that when you were supposed to have a visit and because a message was received about Laila?
Yes, ma'am.
And starting from the bottom, we still on November the 14th of 2015?
Yes, ma'am. I said, oh, LOL. It was in see older pics. That must have been typo, but I said, I mean see older messages. And then
Who says huh?
Jennifer says, huh? And then she says, the first 3 I sent were literally from today. She said, we went to an art gallery opening and they got their faces painted. She said, Laila got a pumpkin on hers and Millie got a butterfly. They are in this message from today. And then I said, is Laila feeling any better? I'm sick too. I'm coughing up green stuff. Did they fly their kites yet?
And there's the markings there. Again, does that indicate where the photographs were sent?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you receive photographs of the girls from that day?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as states 91 and 92. They previously just showed you defense counsel. Do you need to see them again? Do you recognize states exhibit 91 and 92?
Yes, ma'am.
Do they fairly and accurately depict what you received?
They do.
I'd ask the states exhibit 91 and 92 be admitted.
Admitted, states 91, 92.
And what's in states 91?
91 is Layla's face with the pumpkin
And
painting.
92?
92 is Millie's face with the butterfly.
May they be
You may help.
published? And is that Laila there with her face painted?
Yes, ma'am.
And that states exhibit 91?
Yes, ma'am.
And states exhibit 92? Is that Millie?
Millie with her face painted.
Did you ever, during the time that the girls were with them, I know there was a lot of communication through Facebook, did you ever have any phone conversations with them?
Oh, yeah. We started talking on the phone more towards the end.
And did you do anything to, I guess, capture or keep or save those conversations?
I did. Once I started feeling like Laila was sick too much, I started feeling like she didn't send me pictures of her. I just wanted to know, like, I just felt like something wasn't right. So I wanted to keep, because, you know, my memory isn't all that great. So I wanted to make sure that I had everything that we talked about in order to go back to it in case I needed to.
So did you become concerned about the care of Laila during the time that she was with the Rosenbaums?
Yes, ma'am.
And why did you become concerned?
Well, because Millie, I had a phone call. The only time Millie ever, like, wasn't calm and cool in a phone call, I don't know why it was this night of all nights, but she was just frantic and she was hysterical, really, talking about how much she missed her old people, talking about me and my mom, and she was talking about that she just wanted to see us.
Do you remember when that conversation was with Millie?
I can't remember an exact date. I mean, but I know that it was. I started recording the phone calls after that, so it was. The phone call that I have recorded is of November the 14th. No, November the 16th, 2015.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 93. Do you recognize that? How are you able to recognize it?
Because that's the phone call.
Have you had an opportunity to listen to it?
I have.
And what's on Exhibit State's number 93?
It's a phone conversation, like, it was a little different than the ones I had before with them that I didn't get to record. But in this phone conversation is me and Jennifer talking for a good bit, and then she says that they can talk now because they finished eating, and she lets Millie talk, and then I talk to Laila, and then talk to Jennifer again.
Have you had a chance to listen to that conversation since then? And that actual CD there, have you had an opportunity to listen to it?
Not on the CD, no, ma'am.
Did you listen to it?
Oh, yeah, I did listen to it. I did.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
When did you listen to it?
Whenever I talked with you.
And did you do anything to indicate on the CD that you had listened to? Did I ask you to do anything?
Yep, I have wrote my initials right there.
Okay. And did I actually put the date of that conversation? And what was the date of that conversation?
November 16th, 2015.
Have there been any changes, additions, or deletions to that conversation?
No.
I'd ask the State's Exhibit 93 be admitted into evidence.
Admit.
It may be published, Your Honor.
Admit.
Just want to correct the record. We would ask it to be entered over our objection.
All right. Admit over.
So the text, but it just shows me that he's there since I have a problem with my phone being that hard. Yeah, so it's just let you know, I tried what he's doing my phone for some reason that died. So, okay. I thought he was doing about his cases. So, yeah, you know her, and like, hey, about the video, and you do some conversation yet, so that she knows about the picture. And she said to her, just, you know, that she's like, better down my something. So, yeah, I'm gonna meet her tomorrow at court, since I have court for comments. And because she has to meet with me before visitation. And she already knows they can end Anthony. So, because the detective hasn't called any of us back. I don't know, what situation is confusing me. I don't know. Yeah, now, I haven't heard anything since like, when it all first started, like I haven't heard anything else. So, I really don't expect there's anything. I guess they wouldn't tell me anything because for no reason, I mean, there's a reason that unless they want to say that she's there and some type of counseling or something, they don't take to it. Well, insurance is important, so. Yeah, I'm surprised they don't already have any counseling. They always had any counseling. Yeah, we do, they have one, but she's like, I don't know, yeah. I mean, but well, I'll be honest, but not really having any counselors, I've been like, oh, I don't know, she just, I don't know, she's just with issues, questions, but like the way she asks questions, and this is probably because I'm an attorney, and I don't want to people ask questions, but when you ask a fair question, you need to give an answer, like, it doesn't give the answer that you want. So he said, you say that, no kidding. No, that's it, I mean, like, he already told me the answer, but he said, who's supposed to know? Yeah, and then he goes to the answer, and he's like, who is it? It was me, or it was this person, or, you know, like, all these optional answers, but when you know that directly towards you, she definitely did it, and I don't know. I stay in court tomorrow, the one representing Karma, the buddy in Laila. Yeah. Her name is, hold on, I'll tell you, I was just wondering if you knew her. Because I used to pay Hayes. So, I'm surprised I don't have to pay, like, I have to pay Hayes every single time, like, she's been, it was even, like, my guardian life. Alyssa Schrock. Yeah, I know her. You know, she used to be a defense worker. Oh, bro. She went to law school while she was working in defense, and she went to Georgia State Law School and stuff like that, and so she could work all 4 years, and those people doing 3, but she was really nice. She was really okay. First and second church, my one church in Clayton County, she was like really, like super weird. She told me that she didn't have anything. Yeah, they also, the girls have, the girls have the other one. In the office in the county, there's two, there's Ian Miller and Elizabeth Ross. So there are two, so, I would be surprised if you got Elizabeth right now, but if you county transportation accepted, and they probably give her to Ian as well, Ian who has the girl kids. I remember calling after about how the girls are doing and everything, like, they never went to anything, so they were all important now, and like, oh, how are they doing it? Well, good thing they're not doing that, because you know, and they're also still deputy. No, yeah, you know, and I'm glad he's been wanting to know the whole time and everything, but, so, this was like for Wednesday, was like 4:30 to 6:30, so good? Yeah, okay. Okay, well, I don't know, where are you staying? Is it engineer place called? But I can like get a ride to wherever I need to. Okay, well, what do you want to do with them? I don't know, what do they like to do, like the park or if it's too cold, like McDonald's or something? Yeah, I love all that stuff, and now that we have the cash out, and not really believe that, I felt bad, and I'm not quite before, or any time, she went to me with me, but her cash out now, but she can do everything. Alright, so she's, her language though, like, yeah, so, I forgot, I'm talking about that. So when we went and I did an X-ray that day, they took out the cast, and Dr. Hughes didn't do it. I mean, it was like, she grew that a ton of them. Like he said, you know, his bone goes back real fast, and everything goes up stronger, and he does it better than adult stuff. But he was like, for such a short period of time, she grew a lot of bones. And he was like, it's just more than you used to be. Because you're good, he was surprised that it happened so fast, and she grew so fast. But, that leg, it looks different, and it looks different for a little while, and then for other legs, it grows the same amount of bone. But it has, like, you can feel the difference of the bone in the leg. It really, super big now, like, speaking of, probably can't break that bone now, but the other one is still like a toddler. But baby, yeah, she put back, like, he was amazed, like, he was not really the shit running from that. But it's really good, because now, like, on that leg, and on that, she is almost putting impossible pressure, and when she doesn't get too crazy, so right now, does she drink a lot of milk or something? Yeah, we only actually do the milk and water. So we see a doctor, one of the doctors who's stepping down pediatrics, and like she was juice not and I'm also happen to be juice not so like they do only drink like milk and water, so like that's most of their consumption. I feel like totally horrible because like we had some breastfeeding with these healthy eating, crazy maniac, and those things probably like tonight they're having salmon with like carrots and fruit. So, like, I don't eat that healthy. I mean, I'm not trying to do anything like that, but, like, I don't know, I'm super happy about kids getting the right nutrients and stuff, so they eat vegetables and they eat like the right amount of protein, and I mean, so I don't eat, like, I don't eat fish. I mean, they eat fish, they eat cod and salmon and tuna and all that stuff that I make. Well, I friend said Mickey, so Mickey really used to be so picky. Because I'm like, she's actually eating a zero picky now. Like, we went to go raw last night, and she had a plate full, like, one of those plates that we started, so it had pot roast, cauliflower, broccoli, green beans, macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, sweet potato casserole, shrimp, and roasted chicken. She ate every bit of it. Wow. Every bit of it. And then she was like, oh, I'm not going to have another for dessert. But, oh my God. It looks fantastic. In that video, I mean. What? She was chunky in that video that you sent me. She was chunky, so yeah. She is just because of your baby. She's got a little cooch on her kind of burn. She's healthy according to the doctor here, and she's 13 and a half inches tall and 78 pounds, so she's like a pound per inch, which is, you know, pretty healthy. She's in the 85th to 95th percentile in her height and weight, which makes her slightly over weight according to the tennis. I don't want to say that loud, I don't give her confidence, but it's all healthy, so she'll drop, you know. So she's over weight or over. The tall or the weight? Oh, yeah. So good. But like the doctors are like, I mean, the doctors is like it's a healthy weight because you know, it's not like she's snacking on cookies and cakes or anything like that. It's a healthy protein weight, so it's something that will not with more activity and everything and stuff. And we just have just to make sure, you know, what happened was that like my mother-in-law like is like working and everything on the world and things like carpet and to be so and stuff. Whenever she's over and everything, people like mound up their plate with all kinds of stuff and let them kind of go and go and go. And, really fish will eat it because it's in front of her. So, like, with us, you know, we make sure we give her the right size portion. Yeah, I don't know what you eat. I mean, you put it in front of her, she'll eat them. You think that's hilarious that kids deal with, like, stuff too. You know how we do certain things to deal with our problems. You think that? Oh, yeah, her mother definitely has already said that. And I believe it because, I mean, I have the same problem. You know, some people don't, when they get under stress or anything, they don't, some people overeat. And I didn't know they got to do that. Yeah, I'm an undereater. Like, when there's something like, I'm testing really bad and I feel super sick and I can't eat anything.
I think that's how, Laila is, but no, the opposite, you really won't eat her feelings, either in your teaching, like, you won't be fixing nothing.
You know, it's crazy because Millie was my skinny baby and Laila was my teddy butt.
Yeah, Laila, I mean, what, she's like, I like consider her like, when she's freaking little, and like, oh my God, there's nothing wrong, not doing her, because she's like, on a date that's on. So now she's, you know, spreading trend, and then, and then that one. But, I mean, they're both healthy, so it's just, you know. I don't think they're kids, you can't really put too much on and all that kind of stuff, all they're still young, and as long as the doctor says as long as it's not too concrete, you know, the unhealthy stuff that's being done that way, then she'll be fine. She doesn't, I mean, she knows that, we don't hear anything like that. She's, anyway, they're eating, but, that was on Sunday, she can talk to you while she's sending up, and then, we'll let her whenever, because she takes 2 hours to eat anything.
So, and I got testing and a skinny baby. My intended is, listen, but she's not gonna talk, she just can't listen to baby.
Okay, no problem. So here's one comment. Yeah, you can take it when you do.
Hey baby. You can finish eating and I'll wait, okay? Hey, what you doing? Really? Are you still eating? Yeah. Okay. What are you eating though? Fish. Fish? That sounds good. You like fish? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna call her there, I think, tonight, with my markers that I got. Tonight with what? With my markers. Your markers? Yeah. You want to bring your markers? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Well, what we're gonna do is next Wednesday, we're gonna be visited, and we're probably gonna go like McDonald's in the park and stuff. Yep. And you can bring your markers. You want to color with me? I do. Huh? What I want to color in with markers. You can bring some crayons for us to color. Alright, I'll bring some crayons. What else do you want? Color on. Okay. What about a color book? I got a color book. Yeah, it's still at height today. But that's not really enough wind. You flew your kite, but there wasn't enough wind, so I didn't. Can we fly a kite? Can we fly a kite? On the visit? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we can fly our kites, or your kites if we have, if it's windy. I hope it is. Because I know you want to fly that kite. I miss you, baby. Guess what? What? I got a cat. A cat? Yeah, I got a new kid. Yeah, her name is Frisker. Yeah. And, she's gray and white. How is Karma doing? Karma is good. I talked to her, or I saw her last Tuesday. Do you want me to send you a picture of her? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll send you a picture so you can see her. I love you, baby. Have you been okay? I think you're good. I got already. You did? Mm-hmm. You saw the new picture of her? Mm-hmm. Well, isn't she beautiful like your sisters? Mm-hmm. Cool. I have some pretty babies. You're beautiful. I miss you so much. Miss you too. I cannot wait to fly a kite and come on with partner this Christmas. I thought you guys realized it's cute. Oh, Mila, Napa? Yeah. 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 George. George. What, baby? How so little? Yeah, she is little. Remember when Laila was that little? Oh, yeah. You remember holding her at the hospital and when we brought her home? Remember when she was my belly? Oh, yeah. I have a video of you and you're talking to her in my belly. Oh. Yeah, you were listening. Yeah. What did you ask? Did you come and get a picture with your markers today? Yes. But not the whole thing. The little thing? Didn't I really have time? Well, what did you do today if you didn't have no time? I cleaned my room and all that. Why? I cleaned my kite. You clean your kite and then paint? I cleaned my kite. It wasn't strong enough, but it wasn't cool. My mom and dad, my foster mom, my foster daddy tried to get it to let it away. Oh, man. I hope it's windy whenever we have visiting, because I want to see you play the kite. Yeah. So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I got Frozen. Did you see my Frozen home game? Oh, yeah. You saw that? Oh, yeah. It had Frozen on it. It had Queen Elsa and Olaf on it. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Huh? Oh, thank you. It was straight. I straightened it. You have Elsa on it. I know, I did. Because I knew that you and you liked Queen Elsa, and I knew that Laila liked Olaf. So you do like that on your face. Yeah, it's a big fall, isn't it? There he is. You have an iPad. Yeah, you have an iPad, though I don't. Yours is old. I have lots and lots of things on it. Oh, yeah? There it is. I wonder if you it's not as big as yours, though. Do you have a lead pass? A lead pass? Yeah. I do. You do? Because I had some games for you, but I didn't know if you had one, but I'll try to find them. A lead pass and an iPad. Oh my goodness, you got everything. Yeah. Well, so you play in your room all day today? Yeah. And I play outside some. Oh, and Layla's leg is all better? Yes. Yeah. Has Layla been being good? We got cotton candy. Cotton candy? It's around. Oh my gosh, I love cotton candy. I love the blue one. We got pink one. I like pink too. But I got the picture of Jennifer sent me a picture of you and the Grinch. I saw the Grinch. Did you see that he picked me up? Yeah. And I saw your hair. You look like Millie Lulu. You were so gorgeous. What's Layla doing right now? I need my cotton candy. Oh, what's Layla doing? She eating cotton candy with you? Yeah. Oh. She's eating food. Oh, she doesn't finish her food? Yeah. So, but has Layla been being nice to you? She has. Good. Good. Yeah, y'all are getting so big. I don't want to miss y'all no more. I want to see you. I miss you. Miss you too. So nice. Hey. What's wrong with Layla? Is she crying? Yeah. No. So, what are you going to do? You want me to bring crayons so you can bring your markers and we'll color a picture? So color book, paper, crayons is what I'm bringing. Okay. Okay. And we're gonna eat McDonald's. So you want my picture of you? You want a picture of you? Yes. What picture? You want me to bring you a picture of me? Of course, baby. And bring me a bunch of pictures if you can. Okay. You want me to bring you a picture of me? Oh, yes, sir. If I can find one. Alright, I'll bring you a picture of me and Molly. Is that okay? Yes. Okay. Thank you. I don't remember Molly that much. Huh? I don't remember Molly that much. Why not? I don't know. She remembers you that much. She must be love you. I love you too. Well, you remember your mommy, don't you? Mm-hmm. Good. I don't want you to forget about me. About me or your mommy? You can't let them forget about me either, okay? Okay. Well, what else do you want to talk about? You want to talk to Laila? You want to talk to Laila? Yes. Okay, ready? Really? Hey. What are you doing? Are you eating my leg? Yeah. What? Yeah? I love you. I love you so much. You being a good girl? Yeah. Mommy's gonna see you soon. Yeah, this is your mommy. You know that, right? Right. This is your mommy and I love you. Did you go to the party today? You are in your panties.
Hey, freaks. I'm actually, like I said before, I'm going to take the kids fishing. So this will go on for another 2 hours and 26 minutes. If you guys like to help support the channel, helps, I edit this at night and just playing, but this time I'll not be here during the show. Okay, so there's 2 hours and 26 minutes. If you guys like to help reach the goal, that would be awesome. All right, so back to the regularly scheduled program.
Olaf blanket. Yeah. Hey, Cat? What did you say, baby? Blanket? Yeah. Mommy wants to see her Laila. Hey, you, did you fly a kite today? Really? Oh my goodness. I miss you so much, big girl. You're my big girl. Yay. And your leg feels better? Mm-hmm. And you're not sick no more? No, yay! Yay! I'm gonna see you. We'll see you soon. Soon, and we're gonna color a picture. Yeah, we're gonna color a picture. What do you want to do? Just play? You want to come play with mommy? Hey, he's so sweet. He's so sweet. What are you going to go do? You going to go take a bath and get ready for night night? Yeah. Yeah, you're such a good girl. You going to say your prayers? And because Jesus loves you? Yes. Mommy's sick. Yeah, mommy's got a cough. So you pray for mommy to feel better. Okay? What toys do you want? Mommy got you some clothes? What kind of toy do you want mommy to get you? Do you like Barbie? No? Do you like teddy bears? Yes? And Barbie? Okay, baby. I can't wait to see her. I love her so much. Hers is so beautiful. Mommy loves you. Be a good girl. Give me kisses. Mwah. Love you so much. Can you give it a 5 really fast? What would you give it a 5 for mommy? Yay! Oh my goodness, you're so smart. You're getting so big. I love you, baby. You be a good girl. Let me tell Millie hi. Bye, baby. All right. Hey, Becca. Hey. Is it Becca? I mean, unless she still wants to talk, I don't ever know if she still wants to talk to me, you know? I was heard her about it, what do you think about it? Oh, well, I mean, I was telling her about it, that's enough, I didn't say about it. She had, she's, waiting to do some more business after your guys' stuff, but she might not keep it. Sometimes I don't get with your bigger, I mean, kinder. But we're saying, cupcake, okay, there's a cupcake running. Yeah, and she was talking about, a picture, she took a picture, and she was coloring the picture. Sometimes I feel bad when I can't understand her. And we're like really, I mean, unless you're like standing for her and you're used to what she's asking for, and you're like, well, do you think that, and I don't know, like, when they want to get off the phone, like, or if I'm talking too much, or whatever. No, anything heavy. The other time we got away, she said, I'm not sure. Okay, well, so we're planning for Wednesday at 4:30, and do you know what park or where they want to go to? The one, you all live in Ola, right? Yeah, and I live in Congress, so like, in Hampton. But Hampton's not nowhere near a McDonald's though. No, yeah. What exit are you off of on 35? It's, exit 2. Oh, there, I'm 670. Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, Houston would be like the opposite way for both of us, because I'm on top of exit 221, so like, only 2 exits away from, Hudson Bridge area. I just don't know the park of it. I don't either. What about, over by the DDAX office, isn't there like, or is that not used to be a soccer field or something, isn't it? Oh, yeah. I think they might have a playground area over there. I don't know, I can't remember. Okay. But maybe, if it's windy, hopefully it'll be windy and they can fly their kite. Yeah, that's what they'll do. We failed at that, not that I was trying to remember if it was, and we leave it at. So, I come up with that, or if you come up with a better idea, I come up with a better idea, then I'll just tell you before then. All right, yeah, just let me know. I mean, I know, here's the park right there at Lake Dow, that's a really good park. And there's also the Democrat side, just for some reason moving to the outside. Going up 42, I'm think it's on 42. I mean, I'm sure there's a McDonald's somewhere there, some other parks over there. Yeah. Well, I think on 42, is there a park around there? Or on 43?
Park all around, you know that.
So there's half a way, that's so far.
across the room.
There's a part on Reck and Homestead. So, just whenever you tell me and I'll be there.
All right, well, I'll let you know, and depending on where it's at and then how fast I can get there, I mean, I know I would be coming from McDonough's, main office area where your defects, I'll be coming from there around 4 o'clock, and then I'm gonna super pick them up, so if it takes a little bit of time to travel, it might shift, 5 to 7 or whatever, just kind of to fit the schedule. I will, we can text or whatever, keep up to date on that, but depending on how far it is, I mean, time might take a little bit to see how fast I can get there and stuff.
All right.
All right then, well, I will, I guess, discuss with you about that either, tonight or on Wednesday morning.
Okay. All right, so that's it. Are you going to pull on it?
Yeah, I'll be tomorrow, I got my lunch tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Well, then this
On my birthday.
Oh, God, no. So when's your birthday?
Yeah.
On D-Day?
Yeah, I'll be 27 years old.
What do you need for your, what do you want for your birthday?
I'll be United Nations anytime.
I know it's hard to get that stuff when we get older, but like, something. Maybe I'll get.
You can, find cupcakes and stuff at night, it doesn't want me to eat cupcakes. I get some later. Yeah, we went out to dinner or whatever, and it doesn't want me to eat those jackets. There's no thing at all, you're old, I'm just going out.
But you fun. What you think? Not fun anymore.
No, and we don't even party, so not to get under against that.
Or a black one?
And watch my shows.
I know last Saturday I wanted to go out and, I was talking to my friends about it and I still didn't go, like, I've been wanting to all day and I still didn't go, like, it's been like a year since I've been out.
Yeah, the last time I went out, it was some of my friends, it was probably last year sometime. Probably last year right after my birthday. And they tricked me into me to a place called Lift, which is a transgender drag queen show bar in Japan. I was having a comfortable scenario behind it, called people that I'm telling the lady man that was working there, oh, thank you, man. She's like, I'm not a man. I'm not a man, I am a man. She's like, oh, but you really do that big food, so. Yeah, I was for years. So we had to sit there, and I was like so uncomfortable, and I drank because I was uncomfortable, and then they were like, this is us, so we went to Havana, and, it was not that great, I mean, like, yeah, especially with a lot of Latinos there, and like Mexican guys trying to ride on you, just not my idea of a good night.
Oh my gosh, and that's, well, hopefully tomorrow is a great day too.
Well, I have a final right now, I'm just gonna work, so I'll be home tomorrow night after I go on my final. Before we go to work, I'll come in, maybe when we have the birthday, yeah, we will. Then I will probably have, dinner time, volleyball, because it's already cute, and I'll be, around one watching TV shows, and then call it a day. So, that's what all birthdays are.
What's the whole every day bar?
Yeah.
I guess it's every day now. We gotta get over that, I guess. But, alright, well, I can see you, Wednesday, probably, or a second also.
Well, did you want us to bring anything for the visit, like?
Lily said she wanted to bring her markers and she wanted me to bring crayons and color books.
Oh, right, we can do that, I have the writing class, do the worksheet writer or something.
And maybe, the kites if you think it'll be windy enough.
Yeah, it's gonna be all this way. Alright. Alright then, alright, well, we can do that tomorrow and see how it's going. Yeah, whether it's going to do, so you can have anything cleared up, but.
Great.
Okay, have a good night.
Okay, you too.
Was that the last conversation that you had with Ms. Rosenbaum?
The last recorded conversation.
And you talked about Layla's leg in there. Do you ever recall having any conversations with her about Layla having difficulty walking with the cast on her leg?
No, ma'am.
Did she ever mention anything to you about Layla falling down, or falling on the bed with the cast on it all?
No, ma'am.
And in the conversation she's talking about counseling, did you know anything about the girls having a counselor prior to that conversation?
No.
When you would talk to Ms. Rosenbaum, would you, besides talking about the girls, would you talk about the court process and procedure?
I just knew that she was in law school and would know the answers to the questions about the guardian ad litem and stuff, and I figured that she would know them personally, so. But no, we didn't have like a whole bunch of conversations about that.
But would you ask her questions about the process of court?
Yeah.
And That conversation was November the 16th. And when was your visit scheduled with the girls that you're talking about in that conversation?
It was scheduled for the 18th.
And that would have been that Wednesday?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 94, previously shown to council. Do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
And does it fairly accurately depict what you received?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you, where did that photograph come from?
It was on Facebook Messenger from Jennifer
When did you receive that photograph?
on the 14th
Of what day?
of November.
I'm sorry.
November.
I'd ask the State's Exhibit 94 be admitted into evidence.
It said Laila before bed.
May I publish your honor? And what is depicted in State's 94?
It's Laila, in a big t-shirt, like, and it was before bed.
The conversation that we were listening to for the 16th, is that the last conversation you ever had with Laila?
Yes, ma'am.
That Wednesday visitation, did you ever get to have that visitation?
Oh, ma'am.
Why not?
Because she was dead.
Nothing but.
Okay, this is a suitable time for lunch break. And so what we're going to do is break now and come back at 1:30. We'll all be back in the jury room at 1:30. Thank you. Okay, we're back. And the state calls next to us.
The state calls Cynthia Tate.
Cynthia Tate. Right up here, please, ma'am. Ma'am?
Ma'am, if you could raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. Please state your true and correct name for the record.
Cynthia Marie Tate,
And can you spell that?
CynthIaMarietaTe.
And Ms. Tate, what kind of work do you do?
By professional medical billing and coding. Right now I'm working in a restaurant.
Do you know a person by the name of Tessa Clendenning or Tessa Daniel?
Yes.
And how do you know Miss Daniel?
I'm doing associate at work.
And who is that associate?
Regina Banks.
And do you know the relationship between Regina Banks and Tessa Daniel?
Yes.
And what was that relationship?
Tessa is Regina's daughter.
And you said that they were associates at work?
Yes.
Did the three of you work together or just you and Miss Banks?
The three of us had worked together.
And when did you work together?
In 2014,
And where was it that you worked?
it was at Hateville Medical Clinic.
And what kind of work were you doing there?
Office manager.
What was Miss Banks? What kind of work was Miss Banks doing?
She would do check-in and check-out.
And how
for
about?
patients.
I'm sorry.
She would just check patients in and out.
And how about Tessa Daniel?
She helped with specimen collections for drug testing.
And how would you describe your relationship with these two individuals?
We were just associates.
Did you ever socialize outside of the office?
No.
Do you know? Did you know someone by the name of Laila Daniel?
Yes.
And how did you know Laila Daniel?
She was with me and my daughter from July 20th of 2014 until around May of 2015.
Okay. And I want to show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 100, which I've shown to defense counsel. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 100?
It's a picture that I saw on Facebook, yes.
Okay. And does that fairly and accurately represent the person that you referenced as Laila Daniel?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd move to admit State's Exhibit 100 in evidence.
Admitted. Case 100.
So this is the State's 100 that we're looking at on the screen. That was Tessa, correct? I'm sorry, that was Laila, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now you mentioned that Laila lived with you.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how that came to be?
We were asked if we could babysit while Tessa was at work, and we ended up having her for 2 weeks. And then when Tessa came back 2 weeks after we had her, she took her for less than 24 hours, and Regina had asked me to come and pick her back up. And shortly thereafter, I was made the safety resource through BFACS.
Okay, we're going to unpack that just a little bit, okay? I want to go back to the very beginning when she first came in and to live with you.
Mm-hmm.
Who asked you to, if you could watch her?
Regina.
And do you know where Regina or Tessa were going to be?
Regina was working, and Tessa was working, and then she wasn't.
Okay, and were you watching her during the day or at nighttime?
I was there at night, at home.
And you mentioned initially you watched her for how long?
She was with us for 2 weeks initially.
And how long was she supposed to stay with you initially?
It was just supposed to be while we were working.
You mentioned that, was it Tessa that came back after that 2 week period?
Yes.
And how long did Tessa keep her once she came back?
About 24 hours.
And you mentioned that that Laila was then back in your custody.
Yes, sir.
All right. Who brought her back?
I went and picked her up from Regina's house in Hampton.
And was Tessa there when you picked her up?
No,
Did you know how long that you would be watching Laila at that point?
no, not at that time.
Was it supposed to be open-ended, or had they given you some kind of definitive date?
It was just open-ended.
Why did you agree to watch Laila for them?
So she wouldn't keep getting bounced around to different places.
Tell me a little bit about the people who lived in your home.
It was my daughter and me, and her boyfriend. My daughter's boyfriend was there off and on.
And who is your daughter?
Tiffany Chapman, or it's now Tiffany Shaw.
And were there any children that also lived in the house?
Yes, my grandson Lucas.
And how old was your grandson Lucas?
Him and Laila are the same age. He was getting ready to turn 1.
Okay. Are you familiar with a child by the name of Millie Place?
Yes.
And who is that person?
That is Layla's oldest sister.
And how? I should ask you: did Millie ever come and live with you as well?
Yeah, we had her for about 2 weeks.
Was that at the same time that Laila began living with you, or some other time?
That was later.
Okay. So when Laila first began living with you, do you know where Millie was residing?
To my understanding, she was with her great grandmother Peggy Banks.
Did Millie ever come over and visit while Laila was living with you?
No.
Did you ever take Laila over to where Millie was staying?
Once.
Did either her mother, Tessa, or her grandmother come and visit Laila while she was living with you?
The grandmother came once, and then Tessa came a little later and stayed for a few days.
Okay. Now, at this point, was DFACS involved at all in Laila's life?
Yes.
And can you tell me how they became involved in Laila's life?
You know, I'm really not sure. I got a call from them one day, asked them if they could come do a home visit.
Okay. Prior to that, were you receiving any assistance to watch Laila?
No.
When I mean assistance, I mean from the government?
No.
Were her mother or any of her family providing any financial assistance for you to watch her?
No, sir.
So you said that you got a call from DFACS and they wanted to come do a home visit. Did they actually come and do that?
Yes, they did.
And did Laila remain in your care after that?
Yes, sir.
About how long did Laila remain in your care after that?
Until about May of 2015.
When you mentioned that Tessa also lived with you for a short period of time, correct?
Yes.
And do you recall about when that was during this period?
That was right at the end of me having Laila. We had went to court and the judge stated that if Tessa was going to be in home, that I could not have Tessa and Laila in the same household. I was trying to get Tessa into a living sober program.
And I can't remember if I asked you this or not. Do you recall about what month and year that Laila began living with you?
It was in July. It was July 20th of 2015. It was 3 days before my grandson's first birthday.
And are you certain it was 2015?
No, it's 2014. Sorry.
That's okay. So Tessa, you said lived with you towards the end of that period, correct?
Yeah, she was there for about less than a week.
And then you had to go to court.
Yes.
Was after DFACS came out and did the home visit, were you made any sort of designation for Laila?
I was named the safety resource.
And did they explain to you what that meant?
That she was just I was the safety resource for her. I was her safe haven.
And did she continue to live with you?
Yes.
At that point, did the state contribute anything towards her care?
No, sir.
So tell me about how Millie. Tell me about Laila. The last time that, or the last day that Laila was living with you. How did she come to move out?
When we went to court, they were supposed to be taking her into state custody for the first time to place her in foster care.
So up until that time, she actually had never been in the foster care system. Is that correct? All right. And were you considered to be a foster parent?
No.
All right. And at that point, did you want to be continue to be a foster parent?
And no, not at that point.
And why was that?
DFACS was very intrusive.
Okay. And so, did you go to court that day?
Yes, sir.
And do you know where Laila went after that particular day?
She was supposed to be going with an aunt of Laila's father. I don't remember her name.
I want to ask you a little bit more about while Laila was living with you.
Mm-hmm.
Did Laila ever have any medical issues?
No, sir.
Was she walking?
Yes.
How well was she walking?
She's walking very well.
And about how old was she when she came to live with you?
She had just turned a year old. She was a year and 2 days.
Did her walking get better as she lived with you?
Oh, yes.
Are you the one who cared for her?
I would care for her when I got home from work. My daughter was the main caretaker during the day.
Did you ever bathe Laila?
Yes,
Did you ever change Laila?
yes,
At any point when you were, when she was in your care, did you ever see any signs of physical abuse?
no,
Did you ever see any bruising?
no.
I wanted to show you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit 45. And towards the top. If I can orient you here, is this portion of her body something that you were familiar with?
No, sir.
So have you ever seen that area of discoloration on her skin
No, sir.
at any point during the time she lived with you?
No, sir.
When you first got Laila, when she first came to live with you, were you also the person who would bathe her or change her?
Yes, sir.
At that point, did you ever notice any signs of abuse when she first started coming to live with you?
And no, sir.
Now, did you ever help change or bathe Millie?
Yes.
And on those occasions when you helped change or bathe Millie, did you ever see any signs of physical abuse with Millie?
No, sir.
Did you ever observe any injuries to Millie?
No, sir.
And after Laila left your home, did you ever have any other contact with her after she left your home?
No, sir.
Ma'am, do you know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
No.
Do you know Joseph Rosenbaum?
No.
Nothing further this time.
You talked about Laila's grandmother. Did you mean great-grandmother?
Great-grandmother, well, grandmother and great-grandmother.
The great-grandmother was Peggy Banks, is that
Correct.
And did she ever come to visit Laila at your place?
No.
And I understand you did take Laila to her house.
One time, yes, ma'am.
Okay. But she never came to see Laila after that one time.
No, ma'am.
And you kept Laila when her mother went to jail as well, correct?
Yes.
And while you had Laila, did anyone make reports about you to DFACS?
I would not know.
Did you ever talk to DFACS and talk to them about Peggy having suggested you were drinking?
The last time they came out, yes.
And you talked to them about that because Peggy, you said the whole family lies and you didn't want to have anything to do with them anymore, correct?
I don't remember exact verbiage, but I did say I did not want to have anything else to do with the family, yes.
You remember stating that you are tired of dealing with the whole family and at this point will keep Laila in the home until another placement is found.
Correct.
Do you recall stating that Peggy, the maternal great-grandmother, is the person behind making false claims that I'm drinking and had a man in the home?
I don't recall.
You don't recall whether you said that or not?
No, ma'am.
Would it help you to refresh your recollection?
We can try. Yeah, I probably did say that.
And did you say that the grandmother, Peggy Banks, lies?
Yes.
Because that was in fact the truth. She
No.
lies.
Yeah, because that
That wasn't true what she told the DFACS.
no, it was not.
Did she ever call and inquire about Laila?
No.
Isn't it true that the only time she wanted Laila was when she needed a babysitter for Millie?
She never wanted Laila.
She never wanted Laila.
No.
And do you know why that is?
No.
Now, there came a time you had Millie and Laila together.
Yes.
And there came a time when you could no longer care for Millie because of her behavior problems, right?
Yes.
And you took her to Peggy Banks.
I think Peggy came and picked her up.
Came and picked her up.
Yeah, because Millie only wanted to be with Peggy. She did not want to be with anyone but Peggy.
Okay. And at some point you couldn't keep Laila anymore, could you? I mean, you stopped having Laila at some point, correct?
Yeah, at the end.
At the end.
Mm-hmm. When the state took her into state custody, yes.
Do you remember telling DeMarcus Blunt, the DFACS worker, that Peggy would visit the children, but only kept Millie?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
Now, Laila gets blotches of discolored skin when she has vitamin C, isn't that correct?
I never gave her vitamin C, so I would not know.
But did you not tell them, DFACS, that when you give her orange juice, she gets blotches of discolored skin?
No.
Do you recall talking to Misha Robertson on March 15th, 2015?
And who is she again?
DFACS caseworker.
Yes.
And do you recall telling her that Peggy is a spiteful woman?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 11. Can you, and I don't know if you can or not, but can you identify Defendant's Exhibit 12?
Yes, that is Laila in her Halloween costume.
And what year would that be?
That would be 2014.
Okay. Let me show you Defendant's Exhibit 11 and see if you can recognize that.
Yes, that's outside of my home.
And who is in the picture?
That would be Michelle and Scott Chapman, me, Scott's daughter, Brittany, my daughter, my grandson, Millie, and Laila.
Let me tender into evidence, Your Honor, Defendant's Exhibit 11 and 12.
The objection to 11 and 12. Okay. And then
Asked if I may publish,
you
Your Honor.
publish.
Is that what you meant by Layla's Halloween costume?
Yes.
Is that Layla in her aunt's hands or her?
That's her aunt, yes.
Her aunt's hands? And is that the picture of your family?
Yes.
With Layla and Millie?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
It's safe to say you didn't have the highest opinion of Ms. Banks, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. The defense counsel asked you about vitamin C and if she would break out in a rash, so I just want to show you some photos, okay?
Mhm.
Did you ever observe anything like this on Laila when you saw her?
No.
So if she had orange juice, she didn't look like that?
No, sir.
If we can have the lights. Showing you states 52. When Laila had vitamin C, did you ever see anything like that?
No, sir.
I have to object to this line of questioning. She testified she did not give her vitamin C, so she does not know what it would look like. So comparing it to some other picture is not, it is immaterial, it's irrelevant, and it's not subject to, it's not. Thank you.
Judge, they opened the doors, so I'm just testing to see whether she saw anything consistent with some sort of rash that the defense seems to insinuate that Laila had.
There was a question that you asked that seemed to suggest that perhaps the witness had given the child vitamin C, and you're probing her knowledge of whether or not there was discoloration related thereto. And so for that reason, I'm going to allow this line of question.
Showing you states 70, closer up on the back. I just apologize to have to do this to you. Did you see anything like that on Laila?
No, sir.
Showing you states 29 on her neck. Did you ever see anything like that from Laila? She perhaps had vitamin C.
No, sir.
Showing you state 64. Did you ever happen to see anything like that on Laila?
No, sir.
No. Right.
Okay. Any recalls? No. Thank you, Mr. Captain. Be careful, watch your step. Is there any objection to this witness being excused?
Not in state.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Let's take the calls next witness.
State calls Tiffany Shaw.
Tiffany Shaw. Right up here, please.
If you could raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Put your hand down. Please state your true and correct name for the record.
It's Tiffany Shaw.
And can you just spell it for us?
TiffanyShaw.
And ma'am, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a customer service representative.
Okay. I want to ask you about a couple people, okay? Are you familiar with well, first of all, who's your mother?
Cynthia Tate.
Okay. And are you familiar with the person named Tessa Daniel, who used to be known as Tessa Clendenning?
I am.
And how did you know Tessa?
I had met her, our moms worked together, so I met her there. She was actually also working there at the time when I met her.
Okay. Did you know a person by the name of Laila Daniel?
I did.
And how did you know Laila?
We cared for her for quite some time.
You asked her to speak up.
We cared for her for quite a while.
Okay. Can you tell us just a little bit about how she came to live with you?
Her grandmother, Gina Banks, had asked my mom, Cindy, if I might be able to watch her for a couple of days to give her a break because Tessa wasn't there at the time. And my mom agreed. And we ended up having her for about 2 weeks before they came to pick her up. And then she was only gone for about 24 hours. And then Gina called and asked my mom if we would be willing to come pick her back up because Tessa had left and she didn't know when she was coming back.
So did Laila come to live with you?
At that point, yeah, we got her a crib and she came to live with us.
Okay. And again, your voice kind of trails a little bit off, so if you could...
We got her, that was when we went ahead and got a crib for her and started making a room for her.
Okay. Who else lived in the home?
It was me and my mother.
Any children in the home?
My son, Lucas.
Okay. And how old was Lucas?
He was a year old at the time. When we first got Laila, he was actually getting ready to turn a year old 3 days later.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 102. For identification purposes, it's previously been shown to defense. Do you recognize State's 102? Just say yes out loud.
Yes.
Okay. What do you recognize it to be?
That's my couch. My son sitting on the couch with Laila.
And is this a photograph that you took?
It is.
And have there been any modifications, alterations, or deletions to this photograph?
No.
You and I moved to admit State's 102.
No objection. Submit it. You may publish.
Thank you. So who is this group we are looking at in the photograph?
That's Lucas and Laila watching probably Curious George.
Okay. So you mentioned that you cared. Tell me a little bit about the care arrangements while you watched Laila.
I wasn't working at the time because my son was still very little. So I cared for Laila along with him while my mom was at work and also, throughout the night if they woke up or anything like that. And
tell me, how was Laila as a 1-year-old child? How would you describe her?
Happy, just like any other 1-year-old. She was. It was like having twins because they're 1-year-olds. They were very similar.
Did you ever have any problems with Laila?
No.
How would you describe her health when she lived with you?
Perfect.
And about when did she come and live with you?
That would have been July of 2014.
And altogether, how long did she live with you?
She was with us from July until May of the next year. So I guess that's about 9 months or so, or maybe a little more.
Now, did her biological family ever come over and visit?
I remember they came for Thanksgiving, and there were a few of them then.
Do you remember who they were?
I believe it was Gina Banks, Tessa, Caitlin Daniel. That's all I remember.
Okay. And so Peggy Banks is what relation to, Gina Banks is what relation to Laila?
She was her maternal grandmother.
Is that the only time that you can recall that the family came over?
Yeah.
Did they call, check in on Laila?
Gina did. And I think Tessa was getting updates from her about Laila. I never really talked to Tessa much.
Okay. Do you know where Tessa was?
No.
Did Tessa ever come and stay with you?
She did for a little while. I want to say less than 2 weeks. And then we had a meeting with DFACS, and they said that it was inappropriate for her to be in the home with Laila during the case that they had open with DFACS because she could be left unattended with Laila, which is something they didn't want.
Around what time frame was Tessa living in the same home? Was it towards, let me ask this, was it towards the beginning of when Laila was there or towards the end?
Kind of in the middle, I believe. The timeline is it's been a while, so.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
When did DFACS, to your recollection, when did DFACS first become involved?
We had her for a couple of months already before DFACS was even aware of her whereabouts, as far as I know. And that's when they found us and started wanting to do the home visits and all of that.
And did you all do those home visits?
Yeah, we complied with everything they asked.
Ultimately, did you all have an interest in continuing as foster parents for Laila?
We did, up to a point.
And then at that point, you no longer. Tell me what happened.
We became extremely uncomfortable with the amount of home visits and phone calls we were getting, and they wanted us to repeat drug screens and do the evaluation of the home again, and which the home visits we were fine with, but they were also wanting to view my son as well as Laila.
What do you mean by they wanted to view your son?
They would make me take his diaper off as well and show him undressed to show that the kids weren't being abused, is what we were told.
And how did that make you feel?
Extremely uncomfortable, because I had never been under investigation by child services, so.
And when we say under investigation, were you under investigation at that point?
No, but it felt like it.
I want to talk a little bit about Laila. You mentioned that Laila was healthy when she lived with you, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How was she mobile? Was she able to walk around?
Yeah, she was walking.
I want to show you states 101, 103, and 104. You recognize states 101, 103, and 104?
Yes.
And what do you recognize those pictures?
These are pictures also taken in my home of Laila, as well as myself in the background, and Millie and my son.
And are those photographs that you took?
Yes, they are.
Have there been any modifications to these photographs?
No.
You're not moved to admit states 101, 103, and 104. What are we looking at in states 101?
I was playing with her, Lucas in the pool.
And who is it that we see in the forefront there?
Laila.
What are we looking at in states 103?
It looks like they were eating lunch.
And can you help identify the people who are in the photograph?
Laila's in the high chair. My son is, and Millie are sitting at the table.
So did Millie come over at times?
We actually ended up having Millie for a little while when she was in between other placements.
About how long did you have Millie?
I think we only had Millie for, I want to say it was less than a month that Millie was there.
Do you know where she went to after she lived with you?
I know she stayed with Scott and Michelle Chapman and also with Peggy Banks. I don't remember which order particularly she was moving around.
And what are we looking at in states 104?
That is Millie and Laila together on my couch.
That's the photograph that you took?
It is.
Do you know if this was during the period of time when Millie was living there as well?
It is.
During the period of time that Millie was living there, did you have occasion to change her or bathe her?
Millie?
Yes.
Would help her get a bath, yeah.
Did you ever observe on Millie any signs of physical abuse that you can think of?
No.
What about when Laila was living with you? Did you ever change her or bathe her during all those months?
Yeah, every day.
Okay. And did you ever see any signs of physical abuse?
No.
I want to show you what's been previously admitted as evidence of State Exhibit 45. This area, you okay? This area right here that I'm pointing to, is that something that you've seen before? Is that a mark that you've seen before?
No, that wasn't there when she was with me.
After Laila, after Laila was no longer living with you, do you know where she went?
I think she went to stay with the Browns first after she left us.
Did you continue to keep in contact with her?
No.
Did you keep in contact with any of her family members after that in the months leading up to her death?
Only Caitlin, Daniel.
Nothing further this time.
No questions. Thank you, ma'am. You can sit. Any objections to this being excused?
Nothing to say.
Okay. And you're free to go. State calls next witness.
State calls Dr. John Potts.
Dr. John Potts.
Good afternoon, Doctor. Have you raised your right hand? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you shall give this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. If you could please state your name for the record.
John Potts,
And Dr. Potts, how are you employed?
self-employed in Fayetteville and Fayetteville and Hampton now.
And how are you employed?
A pediatrician,
And do you have your own practice?
yes.
How long have you held your own practice?
Since 1978,
And in those years from 1978 to today, have you always worked in pediatrics?
yes.
And prior to opening your own practice in 1978, how were you employed?
I worked from 76 to 78 with Dr. Alan Sievert in East Point. Before that, I was in the U.S. Navy for 2 years, and then residency before that.
And what was your residency in?
Pediatrics,
Now, in your practice, is it customary to write or document every time a child comes in?
yes,
And is it customary to document the reasons why a child is coming to see you?
yes,
Is it also your practice to document any concerns you may have regarding child abuse?
yes,
Have you been trained to look for signs of child abuse?
yes.
And are you a mandated reporter?
I think I understand what you mean. Yes.
And what does that mean?
I think it means that if I see abuse, I should report it. I'm obligated legally to report it.
Is there ever a time that you've had suspicions or concerns of child abuse as it related to one of your patients?
Yes, a number of times.
And did you document your concerns in those cases?
Yes,
And did you report those concerns?
yes.
Do you ever treat a patient by the name of Laila Daniel, with date of birth of July 18, 2013?
Yes.
How many times did you see Laila?
She was seen in our office 4 times.
And were those 4 visits documented?
Yes,
At this time, I state gender states exhibit 105 in evidence. It is the self-authentic authenticating medical records for Laila Daniel.
No objection. Permitted. 105.
105. And on July 26, 2013, was that the first date that you saw Laila Daniel?
yes, as an 8-day-old. It was an after delivery checkup.
What is a well child check?
It's when you see the child for a scheduled well child exam, in contrasted to a sick visit like with fever.
And at the time that you saw Laila on July 26, 2013, how much did she weigh?
I can look, but I think I remember 7 pounds 12 ounces. Her birth weight was 7 pounds 10 ounces.
And what was her height?
I'll have to look. I don't remember that.
Dr. Potts, previous to today, you had taken some notes to kind of summarize Laila's medical chart.
Yes,
Would those assist you in discussing her medical history today?
yes, it would help.
And do you have those with you?
Yes,
And just to make sure that we are, you did provide a copy of the history of the defense. Are these the two summaries that you are using?
yes, Yeah, these are two of the summaries, yes.
These are per,
This is just a summary of both of them. This is Laila's.
I will mark for identification purposes, the summary for both children as 1 of 6, and the summary for Laila as 1 of 7. And looking at your summary, are you able to tell us how tall Laila was at the time?
Her length was 20.5 inches.
And on July 26th of 2013, did you conduct a full body exam of Laila?
Yes.
And did you have any concerns with regards to Laila at that time?
No.
Any suspicions of abuse on that day?
No.
And who brought Laila in on July 26th?
From my notes, it appears that the mother did. It said, Mom plans to formula feed.
When was the next time that you saw Laila?
The next visit was 5/16/2014.
So almost a year later?
9 months, roughly.
And what was the purpose of the visit on May 16th?
She came in because of a rash.
And what type of rash had she had?
I did not see her. If somebody in the office saw her, and it was classical of hand, foot, and mouth disease.
What is hand, foot, and mouth?
It's a Coxsackie virus that you get little red bumps in a number of places, but primarily the mouth, the hands, the feet, but it can be pretty widely spread at times.
And how common is hand, foot, and mouth with children the age of Laila, about 1 years old?
It's very common.
And how does one get hand, foot, and mouth?
You'd catch it from someone else, probably another child.
And during that, when a child comes in with a rash, as Laila did on May 16, 2014, is it customary for you to observe the child without their clothing?
Yes.
And according to your records, was that done on May 16, 2014?
I did not see her. The note was just the vesicles on the palms, the soles, and the mouth. So I assume that he did, but I did not see her.
On that May 16, 2014 note, was there any other concerns regarding Laila?
No, and they did not do a weight check because they don't usually on sick visits unless they're throwing up or having diarrhea.
When was the third time Laila came to your practice?
August 19th, 2014, so it was about 8 months later. No, it was 3 months later, 1914.
And what was the purpose of Laila's visit on August 19, 2014?
She was here for a well checkup and a well checkup.
And on that day, did she get any shots?
She did. She had been, the only shot she had gotten since birth was the one in the hospital, hepatitis B shot. At our office that day, she got about 5 shots.
When Laila came to your practice on August 19, 2014, was there anything noted of concern?
The exam was totally normal, and again, Ron Thompson saw her then, except there was a small red nodule on the right labial area that he thought might be either chronic infection or something called a hemangioma. He did not feel like it needed to be treated. He referred her to a dermatologist.
What is a hemangioma?
It's a collection of blood vessels. We use terms like strawberry birthmark, things of that nature. It doesn't have to be there at birth. Usually, though, within the first year of life, it appears.
A child can be born without one and then
Yeah.
get one. And do the hemangiomas disappear at all or resolve themselves?
The vast majority of them disappear on their own and sometimes pretty quickly.
And is there anything that about a hemangioma that would be cause for concern? For
No,
the child's health?
no. There was no indication of bruising. And but, again, he said it might be a hemangioma. So
Was Laila's blood or hemoglobin tested on August 19 of 2014?
yes, and it was normal. It was 11.6.
And is it customary to test a child's blood?
In our practice, we check it at 9 months and then at 2 and yearly after that. She apparently, from what we could tell, did not have a 9-month well checkup, so that's why we did it at the 13-month checkup.
If a child had a low hemoglobin result, what would that mean?
It could mean that they were not taking in enough iron in their diet, or they were not absorbing it normally. Usually they're not taking in enough iron. And it's not real uncommon.
And on the August 19, 2014 visits, was there any concern regarding child abuse?
None whatsoever.
What was the fourth and final date that you saw?
The fourth and final visit was April the 30th, 2015. And that was for a 21-month well checkup, which is, we normally do it at 18 and 24 months, but she came in a little bit late. The exam was normal except for a runny nose. She had been seen by a pediatrician or physician somewhere else and been put on amoxil. I told her to finish the amoxil, and I added Claritin and 5 days of something called Orpred. And that was the last time that we saw her, but the exam was normal.
And during that visit, did you check Laila from head to toe?
Yes.
And on April 30th of 2015, you didn't have any concerns regarding child
No,
abuse?
no, not at all.
Now, on May 11 of 2015, were Laila's records sent to Eagles Landing?
Yes.
Who made that request?
The legal guardians, whoever that was.
Now,
On the August 19th visit, we had a note that she was staying at that time with guardians.
did Laila have less than the recommended well checks?
Yes, unless she was getting them somewhere that we were not aware of.
It's possible she was getting them somewhere else.
Yeah, but it seemed to be clear that she was not getting shots, which would be the main reason to get the well checkup. So she probably was not getting the checkups.
As of April 30th, 2015, actually, let me ask you something else. Were you able to document when Laila got her shots?
Yeah, our records showed she got one at 2 days of age, which had to be in the hospital, and then she got. May I look at the records? She got several from us on that August 19th, 2014 visit. They left our practice around the first day of May. She got 1, 2, 3. She got 5 shots on the 18th of May of that year, and then she got 3 shots on the 29th of June of that year, somewhere else.
And how is it that you were able to have a document in your file from June 29th, 2015?
They're supposed to put all shots from any office or health department in something called GRITS, which is registers all the shots given to anybody in the state of Georgia.
And that's something that you as a doctor have access to?
Yes.
As of November 2015, would Laila have been current on her shots?
See, that would make her, it'd make her, what, 2 years and 3 months? 1, 2, 3. It appears to, yeah.
So other than keeping up with well checks, did you have any other concerns regarding Laila?
No.
Now, do you actually have an independent memory of Laila visiting the office?
Not honestly.
So there's nothing about Laila's visits that stood out in your memory?
No.
So they're pretty standard?
Yes.
And at this time, I turn your state's exhibit 108 into evidence as her self-authenticating records regarding
Admitted, state's 108 submitted.
And doctor, do you have your notes on Millie as well?
Yes,
And would you like to use those when talking about her history with your office?
I can use them partly, at least.
You can use them what?
I can use them some and not use them some, depending on the question.
Okay, sounds good. And with Millie, how many times did you see Millie?
We saw Millie 22 times. Some of those may have just been for vaccinations that the provider actually didn't see her.
And how many times did you see Millie in 2012?
1, 2, 7 times.
And what were the dates that you saw Millie in
Okay.
2012?
1, 6, 12, 2, 14, 12, 3, 1, 12, 5, 14, 12, 7, 10, 12, 10, 9, 12, 12, 19, 12.
In Millie's records for the year 2012, was there any concerns of child abuse?
No.
And during Millie's 2012 visits, which you've been checked from head to toe?
Yes.
Now, in 2013, how many times did your practice see Millie?
1, 2, 3, 3 times.
And what were those dates?
1, 10, 13, 3, 7, 13, and 9, 11, 13.
And in 2013, was there any concern for child abuse noted in Millie's charts?
No.
And would Millie have been checked head to toe?
Yes.
How many times did you see Millie in 2014?
Just one time.
And when was that?
6, 3, 14.
And why did you see her on 6, 3, 14?
In my summary, she had vomiting and diarrhea. I can pull up the actual visit if you want.
That's okay. Let me ask you this. Was there any concern on that visit for child abuse?
No.
Now, in 2015, how many times did your office see Millie?
2 times.
And what were those dates?
4, 4, 15, and 4, 30, 15.
Give me those dates again.
Oh, 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4, 30.
And on those visits, was Millie checked head to toe?
4, 4, she was given a shot by the nurse, so no. 4:30, she was in for a sick visit, so probably she didn't take her panties off. But I did check from the waist up. She was there for a cough and runny nose.
And on May 11, 2015, did you transfer Millie's records?
Yes,
And was that also to Eagles Landing?
I assume so.
In 2016, though, you saw Millie how many times?
4 times.
And what were those dates?
7, 7, 10, 17, 12, 8, and 12, 14.
And on those dates, was there any concern for child abuse?
No.
Then in 2017, how many times did you see Millie?
I believe it was 5 times.
And do you have those dates as well?
1:29, 3:27, 5:1, 7:5, 11:9, and 11:27. Did I count wrong? No, yeah, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, yeah, but there wasn't a 1:29.
It was 5 times.
Yes.
And what was the purpose of Millie's November 9, 2017 visit?
November the 9th, a swollen ankle. The provider, who was not me, felt like it was a mildly sprained ankle. She was seen 18 days later, 17 days later, and the ankle sprain was gone, ankle swelling.
Why was she seen 17 to 18 days later?
For a cough and runny nose and fever.
Was there a history or reason given for the ankle pain?
Let me pull that up. It just said Millie presents with ankle swelling, right ankle. Again, the day before, the precipitating event appears to have been running, although the actual mechanism of injury was unknown. This is the 3rd time within the past month that she has done this to the same ankle on the playground, and they just treated with just rest and ice and ibuprofen.
In 2017, did you have any concerns for?
No.
Is there anything about Millie's visits that stood out in your memory?
Any of the visits? No, she was at 4 months of age. She had 2 small impetiginous lesions on her shoulder that was treated with a topical antibiotic ointment, and she had a mild bacterial infection that was resolving at 7 months and at, I believe, 15 months. That was treated with an oral antibiotic, but no evidence that we saw of child abuse. Impetigo is a superficial bacterial infection that's common in children, particularly in the summertime.
And does it go away with treatment?
It's always best to treat it. Sometimes it'll go away just with good hygiene.
And you also noted that she came in with a couple times with a mild bacterial infection.
Yeah, that was when she was 7 months and when she was 15 months.
Is that something that you would see on her skin? Or?
Yeah, it was a little vesicular, little bumpy thing.
And is that a common infection for children that age?
Yeah, you see it. It's not uncommon.
And how is that treated?
Usually with either topical or oral antibiotic or both.
Now, between July 24 of 2015 and November 17 of 2015, did you ever see Millie place in the practice?
Ask the question again, the times.
The date range I'm asking about is July 24, 2015 to November 17, 2015.
No, we saw her 4/30/15, and the next time we saw her was July of 16.
July 2016?
2016, yeah.
And when is the last time you saw Laila?
You mean Millie or Laila?
Laila.
Laila. The last time we saw her was 4/30/15.
Doctor, you had mentioned some rashes or infections that the girls had. And I'll show you what's previously been marked as States Exhibit 70. Those rashes you were describing, does this appear like those rashes? Okay, if you look behind you, you'll see it on the screen.
No, it didn't. What we saw does not look like any of that.
I'm also going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 45. Does that look like any of the rashes that you saw?
No, no.
And now I'm going to put on States Exhibit 80. Does that look like the rashes that you described?
No.
States Exhibit 78. Does that look like the rashes you described?
No.
Thank you, Dr. Any further questions? Oh, I'm sorry. One more question. Doctor, on States Exhibit 80, if you had seen these injuries on a child as a mandatory reporter, would you have known?
Yeah, yes, we would have been obligated to.
And as to States Exhibit 78, if you saw that injury with no explanation, would you have made a report?
Yes.
Doctor, as to States 45, if you had seen these injuries on a child, would you have made a report?
Yes.
And as to States 70, you had seen those injuries on the child's back, would you have made a report of child?
Yes.
Thank you, no further questions.
Okay, cross.
Good afternoon, Dr. Fox. My name is Grant Hughes. I have a questions I'd like to ask you before we go on. I wanted to ask you about the visit of 7/26/2013.
Okay.
And at that visit, it was not true the child came in for congestion and constipation, correct?
Yes.
And the mother said that sometimes the child gasps as if she cannot breathe.
Yes,
And that was her mother who said that.
yes.
And we'll turn to December 14th, 2016. And this would be for Millie.
Okay. You said December 14th,
December 14th,
2016. Okay.
2016.
Mhm.
Who brought her in at that time?
Let's see if I've got. Oh, I'm pretty sure it's the great grandmother, but let me see. The great grandmother.
And the great grandmother brought her in for what reason on that day?
She was concerned about her being significantly hyperactive and not able to control her at home.
And did she in fact say that did you in fact write that she was desperate because Tom is lying, impulsive, and argumentative?
The main problems she's having currently include fidgeting, inability to stay seated in class, inattentiveness, inability to stay on task, impulsivity, forgetfulness, refusal to do assigned tasks at home, and argumentative temperament with parents. And other problems include lying. Yes.
In fact, you wrote great grandmother desperate because Tom is lying.
I said great grandmother is desperate. I didn't add to that.
But you said she's desperate.
Yes.
She wasn't desperate for any other reason. She's desperate because the child is lying and argumentative.
Because of the behavior, yes.
Behavior. And she told you that she saw this behavior 2 years ago when she had her, and she's seen it again.
Yes.
And then we'll turn to March 9th, 2018. Who brought her?
March 9th of
3/9/2018.
I don't think we saw her. We didn't see her in 18 today.
Did she not come in for a swollen ankle? It was the third time in the past month.
Not in 18. It was 11/9/17.
11/9/17.
Yes.
Swollen ankle.
Yes.
Third time within the past month.
Yes, that's what they said. That's the only time we saw her.
And that was, when you say that's what they said, who's they?
Let me look back and see. 11/9/17. Let me read it out to you. And actually, I wasn't the one that saw it. It says, Millie presents with ankle swelling. It's primarily in the right ankle. Swelling is noted to be mild. It began yesterday. The precipitating event appears to have been running, although the actual mechanism of injury is unknown. This is the third time within the past month that she has done this to the same ankle. Injured initially 4 weeks ago on the playground. Twisted it, treated with RICE, RICE, and Motrin. No improvement, keeps re-injuring it. And the provider felt like it was a mild sprain, treated with rest and ice, elevation, and told her to continue to take an ibuprofen. And then when I saw her, that was the 9th, and I saw her on the 27th. There's no swelling of the ankle, no complaints of the ankle.
And did you in fact order x-rays to be taken?
I saw that in the report, and I don't know if it was actually done or not. So,
But you ordered.
The provider ordered it, yes.
As a defendant, considered 13. We asked you if you can identify defendants to the 13.
Yeah, it's Millie. It said some swelling, but I don't see any fracture. But yeah, this was apparently, and this was done November 9th, so it was done the same day.
Okay. And is that an order for an x-ray?
Yes, I'm just trying to look. Yeah, it is an order for an x-ray.
Is this the order for x-ray?
Yes.
And who was the child living with at the time these injuries occurred?
I don't know that I know the answer to.
Was it the great-grandmother again?
I'm thinking it was the great grandmother, but I'm not sure. It's not noted on that, is it?
And Dr. Potts, children injure themselves all through their childhood.
Yes,
correct? Some children are rougher than others.
Absolutely.
Some are more rough and tumble,
Yes.
and some are very venturesome and pile chairs on top of beds and try to reach fans and
Yeah.
that sort of thing and fall down, don't they?
Yes.
Thank you. I remember
Redirect.
Dr. Potts, is the mild swelling of an ankle consistent with running off the playground and twisting an ankle?
Yes.
And do you see that often with young children?
Yes.
And as to State's Exhibit 18, would you consider that consistent with rough and tumble child play?
No.
Would you consider that consistent with climbing on some chairs and playing with a fan or something like that?
No. I don't think so.
Dr. Potts, how about sliding down the rungs of a ladder the wrong way? Could that have caused these bruises?
I think it would be more likely some type of abuse, but I couldn't rule it out of every situation.
You couldn't rule out that it was from a fall from a ladder hitting the rungs as she's going down.
I think it'd be unlikely, honestly.
Okay, but it's possible.
It's perhaps possible.
Thank you.
If the child fell down in a way that the best described, you would expect the child to tell you how to injure themselves.
Yes, if they were old enough to.
And it would be concerning to you if the child came with those injuries and was unable to explain injuries.
Yes.
Doctor, isn't it true that with children, they give you an answer the first time, they give you an answer the second time, and you ask them repeatedly the same question, they're going to change their answer, aren't they?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, Doctor. Please step down. Do we have any objections to allowing you to speak? And your release from the speaker.
Thank you.
Please stop. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our break for the evening, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Please remember all of my earlier admonitions tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Ms. Muller, you ready to proceed?
I am, Your Honor. Miss Daniel, good afternoon. My name's Corinne Mull, and I've got a number of questions that I'd like to ask you. Isn't it true, Miss Daniel, that the reason your visitation was terminated with the girls was because you failed to show up for several visitations?
That did happen.
Okay, that did happen. So that is why the visitations were canceled and you no longer had visitation, correct?
Not all the visitations.
Other times it was because you could not make it. Isn't that correct?
I think we saw it was because Laila was sick.
So let me turn your attention to August 3rd, 2013. Isn't it true that on that date, you communicated with Jennifer and told her that you would not be coming to visitation? Do you recall that?
I don't.
Do you recall telling her that you were sick?
I do remember being sick, but that was, I mean, I don't specifically remember the conversation.
Well, let's see if this refreshes your recollection. Take a look at this and see if this helps refresh your recollection. Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you missed? Isn't it true that you canceled visitation in August of 2015?
Yes, I was. I was really far along pregnant with my third child. So,
And Jennifer told you that was okay, didn't she?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So you only got visitation thanks to Jennifer, correct? You didn't get visitation at the Browns, did you?
No,
You didn't get visitation at the Lamberts, did you?
no.
It was only Jennifer who said to DFAC she would allow you to see the children, correct?
In August, yeah.
In August. And in July, you saw the children. In August, you were sick, correct?
Correct.
And then in September and October, you missed several visitations, isn't that correct? Nobody could find you.
I don't remember any visitations being scheduled. Do you have?
You remember the visitations being canceled?
I remember them being canceled in the messages from my Facebook. I remember them being canceled by Jennifer.
You remember that your visitation was terminated by DFACS because you failed to appear at several visitations. Do you not recall that?
I mean, I'm not offhand. I don't.
You don't remember that visitation was canceled for you because you failed to show up several times. You don't remember that?
I think it was towards the end of my pregnancy, and I was kind of.
Is that a yes, then?
I still don't remember multiple visitations being canceled because of my negligence to show up, but.
But it is true that your visitation was terminated by DFACS, wasn't it? Samantha Brown, the caseworker, terminated your visitation, correct?
I have phone calls with Samantha Brown where I'm asking her for visitations. I don't recall. I'm sorry. I just don't recall being terminated.
Okay. You were asking her for visitations because you weren't getting any, correct?
Correct.
Now, I want to ask you a number of questions with regards to Laila. When you had Laila, you reported that she gasps as if she cannot breathe, correct?
No, she had a poop noise is what it was. And when she only did it when she went to the bathroom. So, but I mean, I guess you could explain it like that. I don't think I've ever explained it like that. I've always just called it her poop noise.
You didn't report to the doctor that she gasps as if she cannot breathe?
No.
Isn't it true that both your girls suffered from rashes? Isn't that correct? Both Millie and Laila suffered from rashes on their body.
Millie did have a hand, foot, mouth. Yes.
And Laila suffered from rashes. Isn't that correct?
I think Laila might have had hives or something, but it only lasted a day.
Let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 3 and ask you if you recognize that picture.
I do.
And what is it a picture of?
That is the day after her hives. That's when they were going away.
When is this picture taken?
That picture was taken sometime in July, I want to say, of 2014.
2004. I tender at this point, Your Honor, Defendant's Exhibit 3 and evidence.
Any objection? Admitted. E3.
Not published.
You may.
So this is the child that doesn't have rashes, correct?
No, I told you she had hives.
She has hives.
She had one time.
And this is a picture taken when you had custody of her, correct?
Correct.
And isn't it true that your third daughter also has rashes?
I really wouldn't know that.
You would know.
No.
And why is that?
Because my third daughter is being raised.
Your Honor, it's relevant. We're talking about what she knows. It's about her third daughter. There's nothing irrelevant about it.
Her third daughter is not a victim listed in the indictment. This case has nothing to do with the case at hand, which
Your Honor, it has to do with family lines and hereditary conditions.
Overruled.
So why is it you don't know whether your daughter?
Because her adoptive mother has had her since she was 11 days.
So you've had two daughters, and they both have had conditions, rash conditions, correct?
That's what you say?
Since the death of Laila, since Laila and Millie went in with the Rosenbaum, you've had two children, and they're both in adoptive care, correct?
Yeah, all three living
three.
children are in adoptive care.
So your rights were terminated.
They were.
Let me show you, Laila also got rashes when she drank orange juice or things with vitamin C in them, isn't that correct?
Laila did get rashes on multiple occasions, like I said, and I didn't see a trigger, and I tried not to give her citrus anyways because she wasn't old enough for it.
And so you're telling us that she does not have an orange juice, a vitamin C rash? She does not get rashes when she drinks or eats vitamin C?
I'm pretty sure, I mean, I never related the two.
Okay.
She only had the rash, the hives, the one time.
Now, you have dealt with defects pretty much your entire life, isn't that correct?
Pretty much.
And it's fair to say that when you talk to defects, you don't always tell the truth, do you?
I'm a pretty honest person.
That's not what I'm asking you. When you
Yes,
talk to defects,
yes, I tell the truth. I mean, I was a child, I was a teenager, so maybe I lied every once in a while, but for the most part, I tell the truth.
do you recall in 2013 when defects came out and you told them neither you nor your mother had been involved in drugs? Do you remember that?
I really don't remember 2013 too well.
Do you recall telling LaToya Summers that you and your mother did not use drugs?
No.
The truth of the matter is you've been doing meth since age 13, correct?
I mean, that was the first time I experienced it. I haven't been just on it constantly since then.
Now, you gave a statement to Officer Witt at the time that he came out to talk to you about the death of Laila. And he said, asked you why your children were in defects custody, correct?
Correct.
And what did you say?
Because I failed a drug screen.
Isn't it true what you said is that you lost your daughters because you would do anything to get meth?
No, absolutely not. Who would say something like that?
So you didn't tell DJ Witt on November 19th, 2015 that you would do anything to get meth?
No.
Now, isn't it true that you told Detective Witt that Laila looked like she had never been fed?
When did Laila look like that?
When you talked to Detective Witt on November 19th, 2015, did you tell him?
It did. She looked underfed and unhealthy to me in the photos that Jennifer sent me. The actual updated photos.
So what letter did you write to DFACS complaining about Jennifer?
I actually had a court date the day of her death. I had a court date scheduled for Karma Lee.
Who's Karma Lee?
Karma Lee is my third child. And she had been taken from me, and we were going for a venue change from Clayton to Henry.
And what about that hearing?
I talked to Samantha White, and I showed her the pictures that Jennifer had sent me the night before, and I told her that that Laila looked unhealthy, and that's not my baby. That's not what she looks like. That she's sick or something, and I wish that she would go check on her.
And this was November what?
This was November 17th.
November 17th?
I mean 15th.
November 15th?
17th, sorry.
17th.
2015.
Laila was already dead at this point.
It might have been the 14th.
So you're not sure when you had that hearing?
15th.
You're not sure when you had that hearing?
It was on the 15th.
14th or 15th?
15th. It was early in the morning.
Okay. So now you told Samantha White that you were complaining about Jennifer's care of the girls.
That's when I became worried. The photos that she sent me, Laila looked unhealthy. Her hair had fallen out and she had bruises and cuts on her face. Yes, I was worried, and that was the first opportunity I had gotten to talk to anybody about it.
Where are the pictures where her hair is falling out and she has cuts on her face?
I have pictures. I mean, I wasn't allowed to bring my own pictures. I have them though. I mean,
You have them?
I'm sure that.
Well, can you produce them at this point? We'd like to see them.
Do I need to bring my phone out?
I would just ask Your Honor if you could maybe take a break and print the pictures up.
Because I have actually two different ones of the same sad angle.
Okay. Didn't Miss
I sent them.
Young, didn't you send them to Miss Young?
I just sent them, yeah.
Oh, you sent them in when?
I sent them yesterday. Because I figured that would be important. And if I hadn't sent them before, I wanted to make sure they got in there.
Are you asking that the court do something?
Yes, I'm asking that we take a break so that we can get the photographs and print them up.
Okay. If the jury will please step in the jury. Hold the room. We'll come back in a few minutes. All right, let me know when it's done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy?
Ms. Daniel, these pictures that you gave us were taken on November 16th, 2015, correct?
That's when I received them.
That's when you received them, and that is the day you received them, and isn't it true that it is the same night you were on the phone with them?
Yeah, it's actually, I want to say right after the phone calls,
Okay,
even
so
though
it's
they were
right.
supposed to be done with their food by then, but yeah.
Let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit. Let's start with Defendant's Exhibit 8. Is that one of the pictures you brought us today?
Yes.
Okay. Is this a picture of Laila?
They're both Laila,
They're
yeah.
both Laila. Okay, one's in July and one's in November. And you remember when you talked to her, you asked her to blow you a kiss, didn't you?
Right,
You
but
said, blow mommy a kiss, didn't you?
I don't think that was said in the phone call,
Okay,
blow
you
mommy a
don't think it was
kiss.
said. Okay.
But, because we listened to that phone call.
I'd like to tender Defendant's Exhibit 8.
I think I was just told that's what she was doing. But I have previous pictures of her blowing kisses when the Browns sent me pictures while she lived there, and that's not how she does it, so.
So she did it a different way at the Browns than she does it at the...
She did it a different way all the time up until that picture, but I'm not saying she didn't start blowing kisses a different way. I'm just saying that's also a sign language that she was taught at the Browns too, for hungry.
Okay. Let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 9.
Did you tender 8?
Yes, I tendered 8, Your Honor.
Any objection? Admitted.
Let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 9 and see if you can identify that.
I can identify that.
What is it?
That's Laila.
And when is that picture taken?
Well, I know it was sent to me after the phone call.
Okay, and so that was November 16th,
Yes, ma'am.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if I may, Your Honor, I would tender Defendant's Exhibit 9 into the record and ask that it be published. No objection.
It's admitted to be published. 8 or 9. Proposed.
This is November 2015. Where are the cuts and bruises on her face?
Well, I mean, is there a zoom thing on there? You can see it on her forehead clear as day. Maybe it's... I mean, I see a actual lump on her forehead right there. You don't see that?
On your forehead,
With the cut in it.
with a cut in it.
Right.
Okay? Let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 9 and tell me what that picture represents.
Am I telling you what that represents?
Yes.
It looks like a torn up baby to me.
It looks like a torn up baby to you. Do you see any bruises or cuts on her face?
I see the same bruise and lump on her forehead.
Okay. You see the food sitting beside her?
I do, out of reach, yeah, I see that.
Of course, she was being fed, wasn't she?
But she was supposed to already be done,
But she wasn't.
according to the phone call.
She was done with the food.
I don't know what was what.
The food was- I withdraw the question.
Thank you.
These are the pictures that you gave us indicating cuts and bruises on her face and loss of hair. Correct?
Yes, and is her hair not thinner in the second picture than it was when she...
I'm asking the question.
Okay, well, yes, I feel that way.
Now, isn't it true, Ms. Clendenning, I'm sorry, Ms. Daniels, that you maintained Facebook friendship with Jennifer before and during the fostering of the children? You were her Facebook friend?
I don't think we were friends.
You don't think so? You don't know?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that we added each other as actual friends after the fact of me hearing about her through Miss White.
Okay. Now, on October 16th, 2015, do you remember that date?
October 16th.
Do you remember telling Jennifer on that date in Facebook that you weren't pregnant anymore, so no excuses about not to work and not to do what I'm supposed to do? Do you remember saying that?
I mean,
That was true, wasn't it?
yeah,
Is that a yes?
it is true, yeah.
Okay. And Jennifer responded to you that she would definitely be praying for you and she was glad you got somewhere safe to stay, correct?
Sounds like it'd be about right.
Okay. And that was in October when you went missing, isn't that correct? You finally found a place to stay and Jennifer said to you she was glad that you found a place to stay, isn't that correct?
I went missing.
Well, you weren't showing up to visitation in October.
Well, I was having, I think, a scheduled visitation with Karma, and I was trying to get, wait, this is October, so, I'm sorry, I was ahead of time. That may have happened.
Okay. And that was, we're talking about the October visit. Then in August, you previously testified that in August you also were sick and missed visitation, correct?
That's what we already talked about.
We already talked.
Okay.
In August, you told Jennifer after the baby comes, things will be easier, correct?
Yeah, I was probably like, meaning I wouldn't be sick and.
And so you said, it seems like I'm avoiding my current situation, but really I'm getting some stuff situated while the girls are in good hands, correct?
Yeah, I probably said that.
Now, August 3rd of 2015, you told Jennifer you loved the birthday party she gave Laila, and you said that seeing the girls truly happy and smiling makes my heart happy, correct?
Yeah, but we're skipping back and forth right here. I mean, those pictures that she sent, I was happy about, and then come to find out that was before she even lived there that they threw her this birthday party. So, but I didn't get them until after she lived with them, the pictures.
This is August of 2015. She went to the Rosenbaums in July 24th, 2015.
When did she send me the pictures? Because it was well after her birthday.
I'm not talking about pictures now. We're not talking about pictures. We're talking about Facebook messages.
That's the only way I would have known that I loved her birthday party is what I'm meaning by that.
Okay. Regardless of that, did you say, seeing the girls truly happy and smiling makes my heart happy? Did you say that?
I mean, of course.
Okay. Now, you also took the pictures she sent you, and the videos she sent you, correct? And you posted them on Facebook, didn't you?
I asked her if I could.
But you did post them,
I did.
didn't you? And on November 15th, she sent you a picture of Laila just before she went to bed. That was November 15th, correct?
That was the 14th, I think. Was it the 15th?
Let me see if I can find that picture first.
The big T-shirt picture is the one you referred to.
What you call a big T-shirt picture. States Exhibit 94. That was November 14th, you say, is when you got it. And she died November 17th, correct?
Correct.
We've got to zoom that out again. Now, she encouraged you on Facebook, didn't she?
Of course.
She was nice to you on Facebook?
Yes.
Now, she told you the activities the girls were doing, correct?
She told me what she said they were doing.
Okay. She told you about the face painting, didn't she?
The face painting, yes.
She told you about the fall festival, didn't she?
Yes, she sent me pictures of the fall festival.
She told you about the birthdays that she gave Laila and Millie, correct?
Yeah, well, Laila.
Okay, Laila. She showed you the pictures at Noah's Ark, where they celebrated Millie's birthday, didn't she?
Where she was going down the slide in the Chick-fil-A. I mean, I relate, because every conversation I've had with her, that the ones you're referring to all came with pictures.
She tell you about Noah's Ark? Yes or no?
If that's where the big slide was, and they had face painting and Chick-fil-A.
Did she tell you that she went to the Southern Belle Farm with the children?
Yes, I saw the Southern Belle Farm pictures.
And you complained to Jennifer that you felt a failure, and she told you that you made 3 human beings, and that was a divine purpose. Isn't that correct?
I'm sorry,
Isn't it true you complained to Jennifer in one of your Facebook posts that you felt like a failure, and she told you not to feel like a failure because you made 3 beautiful human beings, and that was a divine purpose?
I mean, she said a lot of nice things.
Did she say that, though, is my question?
Yeah, I'm sure.
And you said to her earlier on in July, you said that you would sleep better knowing the girls will be placed with Jennifer and Joseph, correct?
Yes, because of what I saw, not because of what I knew. Not because I knew her and knew they would be safe, but I based it off of what I saw.
And Tessa, Miss Daniel, you have, since the child's death, you have had custody for a period of time of Millie, didn't you?
Since
the death of Laila, you have had custody for a period of time of Millie.
No.
Millie never lived with you?
No.
Millie never came to the funeral with you?
She did, but she didn't live with me, and I had no custody. I had a visit at the funeral.
You had visits with her, though?
The visit that was supposed to take place before Laila died.
But you had a visit?
Yeah, that took place at the funeral home.
And you had visits with her after that. You had telephone calls with her.
Supervised.
Supervised, but you had them.
I had them.
And you, let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 4 and ask you if you can identify that picture.
I can.
What is it?
That is a sign that we made for her sister, and all the children were doing it for her.
Okay. And when was this done?
That was a supervised visit at defects.
And when was that done?
January 22nd.
2016, is that correct?
That's correct.
Your Honor, at this time I would tender Defendant's Exhibit 4 into the record.
Any objection? Admit before.
Is that the picture that we're talking about?
Yes.
And isn't it true that DFACS told you that you were having inappropriate conversations with Millie?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I'm asking her if she was told that. No.
That's statements that were made, I'm suggesting for the truth of the matter, sir.
No.
And it's not statements made by her, she's asking about statements made by defects.
They're written to her, and she can be asked if she recalls any statements. I'll go ahead and overrule the objection.
I don't recall them saying that to me.
You don't. Now, isn't it true that at one visit in July that you missed, you wrote to Jennifer and said, I wish I could be there. Did Miss White say anything about me and setting up a visit soon now that I took the drug screen? Do you remember saying that?
We're in July.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry. This is Miss White me asking if Miss White had said something to her about. I'm sorry.
Telling Jennifer that because they had a visitation without you, because you didn't show up. Do you recall saying?
Objection, Your Honor. I think she may need to orient the witness. She's talking about various different dates and asking her if she say something without even giving her a point of reference.
I gave her a
It's
date.
difficult for the witness to answer accurately.
Two things. First is, let her finish her question for answers. And second, she might need an orientation right now. Also statements.
Do you recall July 25th of 2015?
This was,
If you don't recall it, it's okay to say you don't recall it.
well, I try to search my memory to see if I can help you out with your question. And I base it off of things like, she wasn't living with them yet. She was doing the home visits with them.
Do you recall July 25th, 2015?
I can't just recall it. I'm sorry.
Okay, you don't recall that. See if this refreshes your recollection.
Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes,
Do you recall talking Facebooking with Jennifer? Do you recall that?
I do.
Do you recall saying, I wish I could be there? Did Miss White say anything about me and setting up a visit soon now that I took the drug screen?
Yes.
Okay. So Miss White was setting up the visits, correct?
Miss White was overseeing setting them up, and then she handed all that responsibility off to Jennifer.
Okay.
Whenever Jennifer, at the time that Miss White set up wasn't it wasn't good for her, so Miss White just decided, well, hey, how about you pick the time? That's basically how that went.
And isn't it true that you missed visitations?
Objection, that's against it several times, Your Honor.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Read it.
Tessa, were you struggling back in 2015 with your addiction?
Yes, ma'am.
Were there times when you didn't see your girls when you wanted to?
Yes, ma'am.
I think, were you grateful that Ms. Rosenbaum and Mr. Rosenbaum were willing to take over the care of your kids?
I was.
Go ahead.
I just was going to say that at one point, I felt like maybe that they would be better for them, but this wasn't through me witnessing it in person. This was just through pictures that they sent me of stuff that they could get them that I couldn't get them. And I just felt like maybe they could have like a family, like a mommy, daddy, stable thing with them. But this was all through pictures and what she was telling me. So at one point, I did feel like maybe if I just backed out, that they would be better off.
And I want to, and when you think Jennifer, was it based on the photographs that you were receiving of the girls and photographs you had seen previously on Facebook of the Rosenbaums and what their life appeared to look like?
Yeah. Yes,
During
ma'am.
that time when you were seeing those statements, did you have any concerns about the girls' safety or the care of them when they were with the Rosenbaums?
No, not at first. I didn't have.
And during your conversation, I think it states exhibit number 98. Do you recall the conversation you and Jennifer had about the girls' weight?
In the phone call?
In the phone call we listened to right before lunch?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were y'all talking about the girls losing and gaining weight?
Yeah, how their eating habits had changed.
And what did Jennifer tell you about their eating habits?
That Millie wasn't picky anymore, which was odd because she was really picky when she was living with me. But that Laila now was an undereater, and when I had Laila, she had like Michelin Man arms. Like she wasn't an undereater at all.
And I'm going to show you, and I misspoke, it was State's Exhibit 93. Let me show you State's Exhibit 95. Is that the same photograph? I believe that is State Defense Exhibit number 8.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the same photograph you just looked at with Ms. Mall?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd ask that State's Exhibit 95 be admitted into evidence. So when you look at this picture, in July of 2015, tell me how Layla's cheeks look to you.
She looks like a chipmunk.
And then in November of 2015, the picture that's right next to it, what do her cheeks look like?
She looks sick.
Are her cheeks still that chunky look as they were in July 2015?
No, and I feel like her hair is like thin, or she's just stressed or something. I don't know.
Did she look like the same baby in that photograph in July 2015?
No.
And I want to ask you, show you what's been marked already, the same picture, I believe it was defense is 9 and State's number, oops, sorry, 96. Is that the same photograph depicted in defense number 9?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd ask that State's Exhibit 96 be tendered into evidence.
Any objections to 96?
Ms. Mo asked you about that plate of food. Does it appear that anything has been eaten off of that plate of food?
It looks to me like it's been pushed around. I mean, it's just my opinion.
But is there still food on that plate?
There's a lot of food on the plate.
And then Laila.
She doesn't look like a baby that just ate a nice meal.
And you talked about seeing a bump on her forehead. Is that on the right side of her forehead that we're talking about? On the left side, I apologize.
Yes, ma'am.
And is that up here in this area where you
You're not object to meeting the witness?
Spain.
I'll ask you.
I mean, it wasn't obvious. Well,
If you could just step down and point at where you're talking about, where you see what you believe to be a bump on her forehead.
oh, here, you can stop down. Right here, and then the cut, it was right here.
Okay, thank you. And show you State's Exhibit 94, and this is from November the 14th.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you see that same?
Again, I object to meeting the witness by pointing her directly to the person placed on the picture. And this young believes is the location of an alleged injury.
Same objection.
If you could step down with the pointer again and tell me, did you see any injuries or what you believe to be injuries in that photograph, which is State's Exhibit 94?
In this photograph, you know how she has the filters down here. So, but I feel like I might see a bruise or
I
something.
object to what her feeling like. She can say what she's observed, but that's it.
I
Do you
observed that when
observe
she sent me 2 pictures and hated the filter on the first one. That's where I got that.
on that
It's-
photograph?
First of all, it's not responsive, but let's stick to the question.
I see the,
Do you see anything on that photograph that I guess maybe caused you concern?
yeah.
And if you could point to it.
There's, of course, the welt on her forehead and on her cheek, and the bruise.
So the first bruise that you're pointing to is on the right side of her forehead? And the second one, what side of her head is that?
It's on the left side.
And you said that there was a bruise on her cheek. Which cheek is that? The right or the left?
The glare, is that glare? Sorry. Really, I just see her forehead really and on her chin, her cheek right there.
And what cheek is that? Thank you.
If at any time you'd like to have this set of lights turned off too, just let us know and we'll send somebody over there to do.
Thank you. In that conversation that we listened to, and I can't remember asking this question, did Jennifer express any concern about Laila's weight?
She said that she was wondering if they were doing something wrong because she lost all her baby fat. And she said, but the doctor said that she was in the normal, I guess what she was supposed to be for her age. She was just maybe like, I don't remember. She said she was a teeny bit under. I can't exactly remember, so I'm not going to. But I do remember that she said that she was worried because she had lost a lot of weight since she moved in with her.
And Ms. Moe asked you about being friends with the defendant, Ms. Jennifer Rosenbaum. And when did that friendship or that connection occur? Before your kids were in her custody or after?
With my grand.
That y'all became friends on Facebook?
Oh, see, I want to say that it was after. Like, if we were friends before that, it couldn't have been for too long before. But I want to say that it was after.
Did you continue to be friends with her after November the 17th of 2015?
No, ma'am.
And so this photograph with the defense, number 4, is that from your Facebook page?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the date of that?
That's January 22nd, 2016.
Is that a post that you sent to the defendant at all?
No.
Are you public or private?
I was public at that time.
So is someone gone on the Facebook where they have access to what you were posting in 2016?
Yeah, the little square right there with the people in it. I'm pretty sure that meant public or maybe friends could see it.
And at that time, you were no longer friends with Ms. Rosenbaum on Facebook?
Not that I am aware of.
Did you do anything to unfriend her at all?
No, I'm pretty sure that she may have blocked me. She's the one who severed the Facebook friendship.
Is there any reason why you didn't sever?
I didn't have time.
And Ms. Moe asked you about a visitation. I'm going to go back in August of 2015 when you said you were sick. What was going on with you?
I was really tired. The baby, like she was almost 10 pounds when I had her in September, at the beginning of September. So towards the end of August, I was just like, I basically never wanted to really move out of the bed. And my feet were always hurting. And I started getting, my stomach would get really like tight if I tried to do too much. So I kind of the doctor never said I had to be on bed rest or anything, but I just felt better laying down.
And so when you talk about being sick, it was due to the pregnancy? Right.
And the previous visitation I'd had with the girls in July, I was also pregnant. And it was like, I felt like I couldn't do as much with them. I felt like, I still loved seeing them and I did not want to see them. In August, I just figured that the baby would be there pretty soon. And that then, because at this point I didn't have any, in my head I never could have imagined what was really going on.
Did you think your girls were okay?
Yes.
Did you think your girls were safe?
Yes.
And did you think you not being there was causing any harm?
No. But I still hadn't seen them either in person. Just saying.
In that last visit that you had with them, you said it was in July what?
31st, I want to say. Because I remember bringing Laila her birthday presents that I gotten her. Because it was the first time I'd seen her since her birthday. And her favorite toy was kitchen. So I brought her a whole bunch of like kitchen stuff. And I don't think I brought the actual kitchen that I had for her because I was leaving that in the room that I was setting up for them to come home.
And that was on July 31st?
Yes, ma'am.
And I think Ms. Moe also asked you about visitations with Millie after Laila's death. And you said they were supervised?
Yeah.
How does that work, supervised visitation?
Well, I think there was, since it was at Laila's funeral, I think that maybe I mean, they were there in the funeral home with us. Like, nobody ever left the funeral home, but they weren't, like, right up on us. You know what I mean? Like, they gave Millie time to be with their family. And, I mean, it was supervised from a distance, but in the same building, in the same room.
Was there ever a time after November the 17th of 2015 that you had unsupervised visits with Millie?
No.
And Ms. Moore asked you about your parental rights being terminated. When were your parental rights terminated?
They were terminated, I'm sorry, just gotten out of, I was in rehab at Right Side Up, and I want to say it was in, there was multiple termination hearings scheduled, and then I fired my counsel on the first one, so they had to reschedule, and the first one was in March.
Of what year?
Of 2017.
So was this after Millie's death in 2015?
It was March 2018.
So March 2018 is when your parental rights were terminated?
Yes, ma'am. Well, that's when they started to do it, and then it got continued until I could find counsel, and then they found counsel for me before I could find my own, because I was incarcerated. And then when I got out, they rescheduled it again. Before I really got a chance to know my new representation. So it was somewhere in May, maybe April, end of April, beginning of May.
So in 2015, did you still have your parental rights?
And yes.
And do you know what a case plan is?
I do.
And what's a case plan?
A case plan is something that it's basically a guideline of things that you have to accomplish so that you can work towards getting your children back.
And were you still working your case plan in 2015?
In 2015, I was.
And you talked about Samantha White. Who was that?
She was my caseworker.
And tell me about your communication with Ms. White.
Well, I also couldn't exactly remember things that we were talking about in phone calls, so I started recording phone calls with her so I could go back and make sure that I wasn't not communicating things the way I meant them. But I basically started calling her too much, is what she was saying. Like, I needed to, she saw that I'd called and she would call me back, but she has other people that she's dealing with, and she's going to get to my visitation. She just has to get with Jennifer. I'm pretty sure that's verbatim one of the conversations.
And is that some of the concerns why you started to record your conversations with Ms. White?
Yes, ma'am.
Was she always accessible to you in order to schedule visitations with the girls during the time that they were with the Rosenbaums?
No, she was awful at answering the phone. Like, I had to call so many times to where I guess I got on her nerves about, well, did you talk to Jennifer yet? Have you figured out this visitation thing? Have y'all agreed on something? Because at first it was them having to agree on it, but I mean, Jennifer got to make the shot. She was the shot caller and everything, but Miss White, of course, had to agree.
And you were trying to make that happen by communicating with Ms. White?
Right. I just wanted it to get on a roll. Like, I wanted to see him. It'd been a long time.
And Ms. Moe asked you earlier on about a statement to Detective Witt. Do you recall ever telling Detective Witt that you lost custody of your girls because I would do anything to get high?
I honestly don't think I would ever say that. I can't see myself saying that. I mean, I don't recall saying that.
And would you, in regards to Ms. White, would you talk to the defendant, Jennifer Rosenbaum, about your frustrations about not being able to reach Ms. White?
I think I mentioned, I don't, I can't remember a specific conversation where I might have said that I couldn't get in touch with her, maybe, or that I voiced that to Jennifer. I may have.
Let me ask you, in State's Exhibit 93, the conversation that was taped and you're talking to Jennifer, did y'all discuss DFACS?
Yes.
What was her statement to you about DFACS?
That they never checked on the girls anyways, except for the day before court. And
what
then,
else did she say?
keep going with,
Yeah, during that conversation.
she said that they never checked on the girls anyways, except for the day before court. And then they're all like, oh, how are the girls doing? And then she kind of like just has to throw in her statement, oh, well, good thing I haven't killed them yet because you wouldn't know.
Isn't it true, Ms. Daniel, that conversation you had with Jennifer was about the guardian ad litem, not about the defects workers. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, it was about.
Now, these conversations with Samantha White, where you're trying to reach her, what month was that in?
I've tried to reach her a couple times. You're talking about the ones where I recorded the phone calls?
No, I'm talking about the months you tried to reach her.
It was around, it was after I had the baby.
So when would that be?
It was in September.
September. Do you
End of
recall
August.
in September telling Jennifer, or rather Jennifer telling you that Miss White wanted you to call?
Do
Do you recall that?
you have the paper with that
I'm
message?
asking you the question first. Do you recall that?
I'm sure she might have said that to me.
Do you recall saying that you were glad she doesn't know where I am right now? I'll be in court on the 21st. You remember saying that?
I don't remember it.
See if this refreshes your recollection.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Does it refresh your recollection?
It does.
So you were AWOL. They didn't know where you were, correct?
Well, it was because I still had my daughter, and I didn't want them to take her because of my previous defects case.
So you were
My-
AWOL. You were not in a place where she could find you, were you?
No.
Okay. And she, in fact, was going to call your grandmother to find out where you were, correct?
That's what it said.
And your response to Jennifer was, I'm glad she doesn't know where I am right now. I'll be in court on the 21st. And that was, you said that on September 16th, 2018. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk about November 14th. That's the date, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you had that conversation with her, right? Conversation with Jennifer and with Millie and Laila.
Yes.
Okay. And she sent you pictures on that date,
Right.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as defendants 5, 6, and 7. And see if you can identify those for me. Can you identify them for me?
I can. You want me to?
Yes, what are they?
These are the updated pictures that I asked for, of Laila and Millie from, November 12th?
Isn't it true those pictures were taken on November 14th?
November 14th. Okay.
Isn't that true? And so those pictures were sent to you, and they are pictures of Millie and Laila.
That's,
At this time, I would tender defendants exhibit 5, 6, and 7 into the record.
Any objection?
No.
And make it be 5, 6, and 7.
can I say something?
In response to questions. In response to questions.
Okay. I don't know.
Excuse me.
Oh,
When she asks you a question, you can respond.
okay.
Is that a picture of Millie on November 14th?
That's the day I received the picture.
But that's also the date of the picture, isn't it?
That's
November 14th.
what day it was printed on.
Yes.
Okay.
That's been stipulated to by the DA's office.
I mean, that was the day that I received the picture.
But it was also the date the picture was taken, wasn't it?
I don't know about that.
Let me show you. That's a picture of Millie. And that's a picture of Millie up close.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a picture of Laila. Correct?
Correct.
Now, at this time, I'd like to enter, we have drawn up a stipulation that the pictures are dated, both sides agree that the date on the pictures are the dates that the pictures were taken based on our service of electronic file to the state, and they were able to check into the dates that they were taken, and we both stipulate that the dates as set out on the pictures are in fact the correct dates.
Okay. And those dates are,
November 14th, 2015.
okay, and that's the stipulation.
In regards to the first set, we had 2 electronic check drives. Those photographs are on the first check drives, and those dates are stipulated too.
5 through 7.
Yes.
Stipulations accepted by the board.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 10. I believe that's been, I'm sorry. Ms. Daniel, showing you Defendant's Exhibit 10 and asking you, what is that picture?
That's Laila getting her face painted.
And is that a picture you received on November 14th?
I received that picture with the others.
And was that on November 14th?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, I would tender Defendant's Exhibit 10 into the record.
Any objection? Admitted?
Your Honor, may I publish?
Yes.
If I may just have a moment, Your Honor. Isn't it true, Ms. Daniel, that in that phone call you had with Ms. Jennifer Rosenbaum, that she said on the phone that Laila, when Laila stopped talking, that Laila probably wanted to get to her dinner? Didn't she say that? You don't know?
I don't remember what she said exactly.
That's fine. We're not asking you just what you remember. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Consent. Is this witness one that should be retained, or are you asking that she be
I'm asking
excused?
you to be retained.
All right, thank you. Ma'am, you're excused from court for now. You may be recalled. The state calls next witness.
State calls Michelle Chapman.
Michelle Chapman. Right up here, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you could please state your name for the record.
Michelle Chapman.
And Ms. Chapman, how do you know Millie Place?
On September the 14th, I was introduced to her and asked if I could keep her for a while her mom had to do some jail time. Sure. September the 14th, I was introduced to her and her mom had to do some jail time for a violation, and that's how I met her.
You said you met her on September 14th. Of what year was that?
2014.
2014.
Stay for the microphone, please.
Okay.
Was September 14 of 2014 the same date that you met Laila?
Yes.
And where did you meet Millie and Laila?
At Cindy Tate's house.
Excuse me?
Cynthia Tate's
and
house.
who is Cynthia Tate?
That is my husband's ex-wife.
And why were you at Cynthia Tate's house?
I was visiting our daughter, Tiffany Chapman, and our grandson at the time.
So you were there with your husband. What's your husband's name?
Anthony Chapman Scott. He goes by Scott.
Scott. So you were there with Scott visiting, you were at Cynthia Tate's house visiting Tiffany?
Yes.
And your grandson?
Lucas, yes.
At the time you met Millie, how old was she?
She was 3.
The time you met Laila, how old was she?
She was 2.
How old was Lucas at that time?
2. They're just a few days apart.
When you say they, who are you speaking of?
Lucas and Laila.
Now, how soon after meeting Millie on September 14 of 2014 did Millie come to live with you?
She came to live with me that day.
That day. And was this at the request of her mother,
Yes.
Tessa? On that same day, did Laila come as well?
No, not that day.
Where was Laila staying?
She was staying at Cindy's and Tiffany's house.
How long did Millie live with you?
From September the 14th to November, it was either the 3rd or the 4th. I want to say it was absolutely the 3rd.
The 3rd of November?
Mm-hmm.
And that is of 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you agree to allow Millie to stay with you, despite the fact that you only knew her for 30 minutes or so?
A lot of people ask me that. The only thing I can say is because I have a heart.
And who was living at your home at the time that Millie was there?
Just me and my husband.
What child was Billy when she stayed with you?
She was wonderful. She was a 3-year-old, but she was a wonderful little girl.
During the time period that Millie was staying with you, would you visit Tiffany and Laila and Lucas?
Yes, ma'am.
And when Millie first came to live with you, was she in good health?
Yeah, she was fine. She had a little problem where she had burnt herself, or she said Tessa's boyfriend Michael had burnt her. I don't know if it was an accident. We didn't go into it. It was just like poof and gone. But other than that, she was fine.
When you say poof and gone, what do you mean by that?
She just said, oh, Michael did it, because I asked her what happened. It was a little scab on her thumb, and it was almost healed scab. I asked her what had happened. She said, Michael burnt me, and Michael was Tessa's boyfriend at the time.
And other than that burn that Millie was able to tell you how that burn occurred, did she have any other injuries?
No, ma'am.
And did Millie have any other bruises?
No, ma'am.
To your knowledge, did Millie have any broken bones?
No, ma'am.
Well, Millie was living with you. Who was her primary caretaker?
I was.
And what kind of things did you do to help Millie at the age of 3?
Really, she was very smart. She would bathe her own self. I mean, I would stand there and help if she needed it, but other than that, she did everything on her own. She was very independent.
Tell me, or tell the jury about how Millie ended up leaving your home.
It was November. I really want to say it was the 3rd. It may have been the 4th, but her grandmother had called me and asked if she could come by and see Millie. She was going up to Blue Ridge, and I lived in Murrayville at the time. I didn't think nothing about it. Miss Peggy we was trying to attempt to get her down there every other weekend or whatnot to see her grandmother. I didn't think nothing about it. She pulled up in the yard. Peggy, Jacob, which is Millie's biological father, and I believe it was his girlfriend at the time, got out of the car, got in the car, and I immediately called 911.
How come you immediately called 911?
That's what I was told to do by DeMarcus Blunt. Before anybody took her, I was to call the police.
And who is DeMarcus Blunt?
He was DFAX in Henry County that I finally got in touch with. He was supposed to come out October the 31st at 7 o'clock to do the placement and do drug tests on us and check the house. And Millie was going to be placed with us. And the night that we had talked to him, which was a couple of days prior to the 31st, he told us before anybody gets her, we have her until he says otherwise. So I didn't know what else to do besides call the police. I mean,
Do you ever personally meet DeMarcus Blunt?
no, I've never seen him.
And prior to Millie living with you, had you ever met her grandmother, Peggy Banks?
No.
Was there ever a time that Millie and Laila lived with you and Anthony at the same time?
No.
When Millie left your care, was she in good health?
Yes.
And when was the last time that you saw Millie?
November the 3rd.
Now, was there a time that Laila lived with you?
No, she stayed with us for a few weeks, her and Lucas together. It was through a holiday vacation. They were both at home, and we just went and got them and kept them for a couple weeks. And I believe it was right before Christmas.
During that time period, was she primarily staying with Tiffany and Cynthia?
Mm-hmm. That's when she was staying with them, yes.
And at the time that Laila came to stay with you for those 2 weeks, did she appear to be in good health?
She was fine.
Did she have any broken bones?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any unexplained bruises?
No, ma'am.
Any unexplained injuries?
No, ma'am.
What kind of 2-year-old was Laila? Or one?
She was happy.
She was happy. When was the last time you saw them?
It was right before, I don't remember the date. It was right before she went in to, I want to say, the Browns. Right before she went in the first foster home.
And the last time you saw Laila, was she in good health?
She was fine.
When Laila was staying with you for those 2 weeks, did you change her diaper?
Yeah.
Did you dress her?
Yes.
Okay. And did you feed her?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Chapman, I'm going to show you 3 photographs that I've previously identified as States Exhibits 97, 98, 99.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me know if you recognize the photographs.
Yes, ma'am. They were all taken at my house.
And what are they photographs of?
This is
tell me in general.
Where Lucas and Laila laid in the bed, they had a pack and play, and that's what they slept in, right in the edge of the foot of our bed.
And what exhibit number is that?
99.
99. And is that how Laila appeared when she stayed with you?
Yes. This is at our kitchen table. They're eating supper with my husband, Anthony.
And is that State's exhibit?
This is 97.
And is that how Laila appeared at that time?
She
Hold
left.
on, go back to this one, 97. Is that how she appeared?
Yes.
Okay. And now you can tell me about State's 98.
This is her just having fun, pop off shoes. That's what she would call us, is Papa and Mama. She'd put on his boots and walk around. This is 98.
And in these 3 exhibits is how Laila appeared during the time that she stayed with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And at this time, I tender State's exhibits 97, 98, and 99 into evidence and ask permission to publish.
Permitted, and may publish.
Overhead, Ms. Chapman, State's exhibit 97. If you can identify the individuals in the photograph, and you can use this pointer if you need. There is a step, so just be careful.
That's Scott, my husband. That's our grandson, Lucas, and that's Laila.
Thank you. And I'm going to have you stay right there. Okay. I'm going to show you now State's exhibit 99. Your Honor, may I request that the lights be dimmed?
Sure. Both sides.
Thank you.
That's Laila and Lucas laying in the crib together, or they're pack and play at the end of the bed.
And the child with their stomach exposed, who is that?
That's Laila.
And did she have any markings on her stomach during the time period that she lived with
She
you?
had no markings on her whatsoever.
Thank you. And the last one is State's Exhibit 98. And is that a picture of Laila at your home?
Yes, ma'am. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And when Millie first met you, what did she call you from the first moment she met you?
I was Mama Shell, and Scott was immediately Daddy.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Cross.
Is that of Laila and Lucas?
Yes, ma'am.
Laila on the right?
Correct. Lucas with his thumb in his mouth.
Does she have anything on her head there?
No, that's her hair.
That's her hair. In fact, there's a shadow.
I believe yes, it was.
Her hair creates a shadow.
If you're talking about that white line right in here, that's a
Yes.
curl.
That's a curl.
Mhm.
But with regards to over here, that's her hair that's there.
Yes.
Isn't it true, Ms. Chapman, that, you had asked Katie Banks to babysit Millie, and she wouldn't?
No,
You
that's
never-
not true. No,
You didn't ask her that?
no, I did not.
Okay, so you didn't tell that to her, you asked her?
No, I did not.
Thank you, that's all.
Anything else?
No, you're wrong. May the witness excuse?
Yes.
Thank you.
State the false next witness.
State Boss Tammy Newman.
Tammy Newman. Right up here, please.
Ms. Newman, can I have you raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
If you please state your name and then spell your name for the record.
Tammy Newman, Tammynewman.
Ms. Newman, how are you currently employed?
I'm a school counselor and a high school teacher.
And how long have you been a school counselor and high school teacher?
Well, this is my 5th year as a school counselor, my 4th year doing both jobs.
Was there a time that you worked for Pathways Transitions?
Yes.
And what is that, Pathways?
It is an agency that delivers mental health services.
And what did you do while you worked at Pathways?
I was a therapist.
And how long were you at Pathways?
2 years.
You indicated you were a therapist. Were you a therapist of, what kind of therapist were you?
I did therapy for adults and children, families.
Would you go to their homes or would they come to you?
Most of the time I would go to their homes. There were a few cases where clients would come to my office, but 99% of the time I would see them in the community, at home, in group homes, at school, daycare.
And how did you receive patients at Pathways?
Sometimes I would get patients by parents calling their Medicare provider, and then they would get a referral that way or through school counselors or DFACs.
Approximately what percentage of your clients came through DFACs?
Probably at least 50%.
And why is that?
Because Pathways had a contract with the state of Georgia. They were what is known in the industry as a core provider for services for those types of places like DFACs, the juvenile court system.
And when you say services, what kind of services are you talking about?
Therapy, assessments, family therapy.
So it would be fair to say mental health type services?
Yes.
Now, were you working at Pathways on June 29 of 2015?
Yes.
And at that time, were you, did you receive a call, or some sort of communication from an individual named Samantha White?
I would have probably received that prior to that date, but yes.
And who is Samantha White?
At that time, she was a case worker for Henry County DFACs.
And during the time period you worked at Pathways, would you have clients be referred to you through DFACs in Henry County?
Yes.
And would that happen through the caseworkers?
Yes.
And why did Ms. White contact you?
Well, specifically for this case, she wanted me to go out and meet with a foster parent who had some children in her care and to see if the girls needed therapy. And so at that time, she just sent the Shines referral, which was the referral for the services, to our main office, and then it was sent to me.
And on June 29 of 2015, did you go to the home of a Mrs. Lambert?
Yes.
And at that time, did you meet an individual named Millie Place?
Yes.
How old was Millie when you went to the home?
She must have been around 3, I'm thinking. I can't remember exactly.
Was she under the age of 5?
Yes.
And at that time, did you also meet an individual named Laila Daniel?
Yes.
And how old was she?
She was younger than Millie. I don't think she was quite 2. Yeah, maybe she was 2.
During your visit to the Lamberts, did you speak with Ms. Lambert about why the children were in her care?
Yes, I had to do an assessment, like an intake. So yes, I would have asked that.
And when you do an assessment, what kind of information are you gathering?
Well, I just needed to know the background. In this case, because it was a DFACS case, I just needed to know the background and try to determine if there had, what type of trauma or issues had occurred in their lives. So I was just trying to get the background to figure out how they came into care.
Did you have any conversations with Millie Place?
I didn't really have a conversation with her. She did come in the room. I can't remember. It seems like she could talk, but I can't remember. It's been a long time and I can't remember exactly. Maybe she said hi.
Did you ever provide any therapy services for Millie and Laila?
No, I did not.
And what was the reason for that?
As a core provider, Pathways could not provide services to children under the age of 5 because those children can't receive a mental health diagnosis typically. And in order to provide core services, there has to be a DSM diagnosis.
And is this rule about having to receive a DSM diagnosis prior to providing services, was that a rule that Pathways put up, or was it a more global?
It's a more global rule with Medicaid.
And And was June 29, 2015 the only time that you met Millie Place and Laila Daniel?
Yes,
And other than that, you had no further contact with the children?
I did not.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And cross.
Good afternoon, Ms. Newman. My name's Corinne Mullins. I have a few questions to ask of you. Laila was not talking at the time, was not able to talk. She was too young, correct?
She did not speak when I saw her.
And she was with the Lamberts at that time.
She was.
And the Lamberts were defect's foster parent, correct?
Yes.
And this was in June, this was June 2nd of 2015. Does that seem about right?
I don't know what date it was. I don't have access to those records anymore.
Well, let me show you let me see if this refreshes your recollection.
It looks like this says June 29th.
June 29th?
That's what it looks like it says.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Well, I don't remember the specific date, but I knew that it was in June.
You knew it was in June of 2015. And Ms. Lambert gave you a history, medical history, so to speak.
Not real. I don't think there was a medical history.
Was it a social history?
Maybe.
And she told you that, well, it's a history given to a practitioner, a therapist. And
She didn't provide therapy.
no, but she was going to, and I think she did provide some.
Her role was that of a therapist for pathways transition at times. Responsible to the same.
Your Honor, this witness testified that she never provided therapy services. She went out to assess, and it is hearsay. It's something that another individual told her.
And that individual is going to testify, Your Honor, so she would be able to be cross-examined, otherwise I'd have to ask her to come back.
But this is related to diagnosis and treatment. That is part of the assessment. Overall objection.
Thank you. Ms. Lambert shared with you that Laila had anger problems, right?
Is that what it says on the paper?
Well, I'm asking you.
Well, I'm not going to be able to remember that. I haven't seen any of that.
Refreshes your recollection.
Well, that's what it says here.
Does what does it say there?
Foster mother shared that Laila appears to have anger problems.
And she told you that Laila had not really had any contact with her mom since her birth, correct?
Yes.
And she told you that biological mother was on meth and her whereabouts were currently unknown, correct?
Yes.
And she told you that Laila bites and scratches her older sister and her foster siblings when she is mad.
Yes.
And she appears to have anger problems, especially related to food.
Yes.
And you spoke to Miss White at some point, correct?
I either spoke to her or emailed her. I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall telling Miss White on July 14th, 2015, that Millie can be very grown and she likes to be in adult conversations?
I don't.
You don't recall? See
No.
if this refreshes your recollection.
That's what it says here.
And Millie can be very grown and likes to be in adult conversation. Isn't it true that you also said you were going to see if one of your coworkers could take over because you had challenges with Laila because she was not verbal?
Well, that's what it says here, though I do not believe that I said that to her.
Okay, so you don't recall saying that to her?
No.
And do you recall telling her that Laila was not verbal and that was perhaps the reason why she was so aggressive?
I don't specifically recall that, but I do think that I would say that.
Thank you.
Just briefly, the information that you received about Laila biting and being aggressive was from the foster mother?
Yes.
Was that anything you ever observed while you were over there?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Okay. Thank you. You can step down and you're excused.
Okay, thank you.
There's no objection. Hearing none, you're excused. Is this an appropriate time to take our late afternoon break, 15 minutes, bathroom break? Let's do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're excused in the jury holding room. You're also free to go anywhere you'd like to, so long as you talk on that administration.